old and legendary.
Goddamn, another Hunter. That's 3. Shit.
Hi, this is the Hearthstone podcast for the week. I'm sorry. This is the
doing a Hearthstone podcast?
The comic conspiracy podcast for the week of April 26, 2016. My name is Ryan Higgins, and I haven't played Hearthstone. I logged into Hearthstone the other day, Blizzard's mobile game and PC game Hearthstone, and I had card backs going all the way back to 2014 that I hadn't claimed, so tells you the last time I played that game. But Brock, you play this game. Who else is on this podcast?
Brock Sager.
And Charlie.
Bryce and Toby are on their way, so they'll join us soon. No, we're not going to talk about Hearthstone.
Why not?
We could talk about that in the Geek Box.
I wore this shirt for a reason.
You could talk about that in the Geek Box when I'm gone. This is the Comic Conspiracy Podcast. We talk about much cooler things like, sexual harassment in the workplace. So, hey, comics, everyone.
Yeah.
What's going on, everyone? Everyone good? Good day?
Yeah.
You finished Daredevil?
No, I did not finish Daredevil.
Charlie, you finished
I
a
finished
month and a half ago.
While back.
Charlie's going to be nice and tell me when I need to go in the back and just open packs. So,
do you remember Daredevil? It's been so long. Do you remember this?
Yes, I remember there's a show called Daredevil that I binged watched all of season 2, and awesome things happened.
Are you sure you watched Daredevil season 2?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So we have a ton of stuff to talk about, a bunch of big news stories. We're going to talk about a bunch of Marvel #1s, also Daredevil season 2 spoilers. So if you have not watched it yet, finish it before this podcast ends. You have an hour.
I think that's going to take them a lot longer.
Yeah, well, they can fast forward. So I've started to listen to podcasts at audiobook fast speed for some podcasts that I'm trying to get through. It works okay. If you listen to this podcast at fast speed, I don't understand how you... Whoa. Just pop something real bad. Yeah, stop it. I don't know how you understand Bryce, because he talks pretty quick. Anyway, we have some comic news, and this is always the worst type of comic news because it's about real-life humans in the real world, and you never want to hear about real humans in the real world on a comic book podcast because you know something bad has happened. That's the only time we talk about real people, all right?
Yeah, it's true.
No, sometimes we talk about good stuff.
Creators changing companies, all that can be good. But
it can be good.
Yeah, when it's not directly around a creative shift.
Right,
yeah.
Right. So, DC Comics this past week, a week ago, laid off Shelly Bond, who was the the VP and executive editor of Vertigo, which is one of their imprints. She had worked under Karen Berger since the creation of Vertigo 23 years ago, I believe it was. Karen Berger was responsible for bringing over creators like Alan Moore, Neil Gaiman, Grant Morrison, and many, many others from the UK to DC Comics in the 80s. Very, very influential person who left DC after a bunch of restructuring and recently has popped up over at Image. We mentioned that last week as part of the Image Expo episode. And, Vertigo's been having some trouble the last couple of years. It was... I
wouldn't say they've been having trouble, Bob.
Oh, they've been having trouble. With the way Image works, you own the book you create. Any royalties, any movies, any of that stuff that happens, you fully control. Image owns nothing. They just print them and distribute and make some money when they sell the comics. Vertigo is not currently like that. That as far as... I don't know if there's a public copy of whatever the Vertigo's agreement is, but...
Yeah.
Basically, anything you create for them, Warner Brothers owns. There may be certain situations where that's not true, but I believe most people that are working for Vertigo are work for hire at this point.
Yeah.
So, which other books have been taken out of Vertigo from the past. So there have been there was a Frank Quitely book called 2020 Visions that Vertigo published that he's taken out. Grant Morrison. Garth Ennis took War Stories, which is a series he did. They've continued it at Avatar. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it is possible to get it out of there, but Vertigo does not offer creators the same rights that Image does. It's not the way they're built, and so Vertigo, with Image jumping and becoming 10% of the market in the last couple of years, no doubt that people are going to leave Vertigo, where they basically get paid very little, to go to Image, where they get paid a ton more on all the merchandise rights, movie rights, anything like that.
And it's one of those things where I don't think you see the bump in sales through Vertigo compared to, like, it used to be a image imprinted book didn't really necessarily equate to a bump in sales.
Right.
Where a Vertigo imprinted book did.
Would. And now it's completely flipped.
Yeah.
When these books launched by Vertigo, I ordered very low based on what the past number of Vertigo books had done. Sandman did very well, but even that new 100 Bullet series did very poor compared to the old 100 Bullet series. So when this new stuff of Vertigo launched, I ordered pretty low, and then at the last minute, I bumped my numbers on all the books. I should have kept them low, because it doesn't matter what the books are. Some of them are really good. Art Ops, I absolutely love. Nobody buys it. It's like 6 copies.
The Sheriff of Babylon.
Babylon.
Is pretty good. That's
been actually picking up a little bit of steam because of Tom King, but even then, we're talking 6, 8 copies, not 20, not 30, not 40, right? Which is, those are for us image numbers, right? Yeah. So you have a flailing imprint of DC by Warner Brother, and it's Warner Brother and DC's fault. That I think Vertigo is doing as well as they possibly can given this situation.
Yeah.
But Shelly Bond, who was a longtime employee of DC and Vertigo and probably being paid very, very well, who is running an imprint where the books are selling very, very poorly, so they let her go. And they're restructuring Vertigo. All of the comics are now being, Dan Didio and Jim Lee, the 2 publishers, and they're going to head up. Basically, everyone's going to kind of report to them like DC Comics.
Yeah.
And we don't know what the future of Vertigo is. I've heard a few rumors through the years, but the last year or two, but nothing's official.
Yeah, DC's shrunk down a lot of their imprints. Because,
they're basically all gone, right?
Yeah.
Now, the kids' books still exist, but
yeah.
I don't even know if that's handled with DC normal.
Yeah.
So when, the story that everyone should be talking about is Shelly Bond being let go, which is really sad. She's worked on some of the absolute best books the industry has ever published. But the problem is they didn't talk about who the story didn't become who got let go. The story became who they kept. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a lot of... And I'm hoping Bryce comes in for this conversation because I know he works a slightly... Although, Charlie, you do as well. But I think he's maybe a little bit more familiar with corporate HR. I'm not saying he's involved with corporate HR a lot. I'm saying Bryce
has been through this before, right?
The position he has in sales, I have a feeling he has to be well versed in corporate HR rules. So the problem is not who they left, but who they let go, but who they kept. So this was a couple years ago. There was this big news story about an employee of DC, one of the head editors. Had sexually assaulted one of the employees of DC Comics at WonderCon, and is just a kind of a well-known secret, but no one had really come out and ever named a name. Mm-hmm. And now that Shelly Bond was fired, people are starting to name a name. They said, why have we let go this great talent and kept this guy? And this guy's name is Eddie Berganza, who is the group editor of the Superman comics, previously one of the executive editors of all of DC Comics. So this person is still employed at DC, and I've talked with him at panels, and he's been up on the not in the last couple of years, but previously been up on panels, and he's worked on a lot of titles through the years. The problem with this whole situation is, internal politics, and not to say that sexual assault is playing politics, but Bleeding Cool did a nice rundown where they he got a lot of information on what happened. He went through a number of sanctions and behavioral modification programs by Warner Brothers, by their HR department. He was then he was demoted and not allowed to attend comic conventions. So the company said, we're not going to fire you because we don't know exactly what happened. But they took what probably some people would say is appropriate actions against this man. And now, years later, his name comes out publicly by at least one of the people that accused him of this back in 2012. So, what a shitty situation for everyone involved, DC, Eddie Berganza, and everyone that he's had, that have had issues with him through the years. I mean, Charlie, you may know a little bit about this. I assume that if a company, if there is a sexual assault or some form of HR problem, the company would have the option to fire you, to let you go. If they decide to put you through training, if they decide to put you through behavioral modification programs like this, they cannot then fire if you successfully complete it. They check it off and say, yes, you have gone through what we deem, appropriate.
Yeah, it's like getting a ticket and going to drive.
And then there's never another problem. I assume you cannot then be fired 4 years down the road for that offense.
Not for that offense, but I mean, realistically,
they could shove them in a corner. And
well, no, I'm just saying that if they were doing a round of layoffs to save money, and the official let go reason is around letting people go to save money, and it's not targeted towards him, it's not like they couldn't have included him in a round of layoffs.
Right. So in this case, they have a clear reason to let go Shelly Bond because of the lack of success of Vertigo. There may or may not. Yeah, like I said, they could have put him in a corner. They could have him edit the previews every month. They could demote him till he basically is forced to quit. They could ask him to resign, but they can't fire him. And they can't. I mean, they could let him go for any reason they want, really, but they can't fire him for this reason. Not at this point. That's how I would assume. Yeah.
And I guess
I would also assume,
I don't know enough about the controversy and stuff around this to say, but I'm guessing based on what he was required to do, it sounds like it was probably closer to sexual harassment rather than assault.
Well, right. Sexual harassment complaints is
yeah. I'm just saying, don't use the term assault because it means something completely different.
Right. Well, let me see if I actually got the let me see if I actually have the actual quote. No, one of the people that did talk about this publicly and then that did and was one of the people that reported him. She doesn't say assault or harassment, so no specific wordage given there. But either way, shitty situation for everyone involved. If the guy went through, if the guy was having some issues, this happened, he went through the program, regrets it. It's like if you go to jail, you commit a crime, you go to jail. When you come out the other side, in theory, you have paid your dues. You are,
but
in theory, remorseful.
Protect you from layoffs and stuff like that. It does protect you from.
It doesn't protect you from the internet wanting to crucify you.
Yeah, and I mean, realistically, what kind of ends up happening is anytime somebody's not let go for cause, they can no longer use that as a justification to let them go.
Well, I assume at this point, if they let him go for even any reason in the next 6 months, he would sue them for being, no, you're not letting me go because sales are down. You're letting me go because of this situation.
That's why I said if it was part of a layoff of groups of people, they could totally do that. But they can't for this reason. Now, mind you, that I could see them potentially offering him a severance package of some sort.
They could ask him to step down.
Yeah.
Right. Well, here comes Bryce. Let me ask him. Okay, Bryce is going to the liquor store. Hey, Bryce, there's beer here. There's all that beer from last week.
Indiana beer.
There's all sorts of great Indiana beer.
Right.
Yeah, you could take one of those. I have a very important question to ask you, so sit down.
Listening to Ryan shit on Game of Thrones from the Geek Box, Sauce Geek Box.
Let me ask you a question real quick before you get a beer.
I'm not prepared.
No, that's fine. Free
beer? I'm not prepared.
That's fine.
I think your voice cracking is the best part of that.
Can't wait.
Because of your position in your real job
during sex.
Good segue. Because of your position in sales, I'm assuming you have to be well versed in corporate HR rules. It feels like sales would be a of course. So did you read this stuff? Did you read the link I sent you about Eddie Berganza, that whole situation?
Yeah, it is. So okay. I don't know what you already said. How much time do I have?
Me and Charlie.
In Bryce time.
Charlie.
Because I don't care.
Negative
with
2
X-Men,
seconds.
I actually care, so I go on way too long. With shit that I don't care about, I'm actually relatively succinct.
Charlie agreed with my belief that if he went through these behavioral modification programs and went through whatever HR deemed necessary in a sexual harassment situation, that they cannot legally fire him years down the road for the same incident. Now, if he sexually harassed or assaulted someone again, they would have an absolute reason to fire him.
Here's the real world, how the real world
because
works.
he could then sue them.
Sure. So how the real world works with a big corporate giant, I'm not sure if it counts as DC or if it's Warner Brothers. I don't know.
Warner Brothers.
But
right.
what they're able to do, depending on the size of the company. Now, I work for a big company, not a huge company though, and that therein may lay the difference. Is that it is next to impossible to fire somebody, but that you are relatively easily able to lay the groundwork for finding somebody's abilities or performance unsatisfactory to the point where they are let go. Now, there's an asterisk here where in sales it's much easier because they can give you an outrageous sales number and then all of a sudden you're not able to make it because it's impossible.
Well, what I said to Charlie was they could stick him in a corner, they could have him editing previews and waste him and pay him nothing. And
that's what they should have done, it sounds like, and I wish that I got more context into the situation. But from what I was reading, there was a lot of inflammatory bullshit about why this guy why that lady and not
Shelly Bond,
this guy. I don't know the backstory. I literally just walked in. But my thinking is that it may or may not come down to laziness on certain managers' parts where they don't want to have to worry about rehiring somebody if they can just put them in a corner and not worry about rehiring. Because, like, some positions, it's very hard to rehire. Like, it's a lot of work for those managers to rehire somebody. They don't want to have to. It's a lot of man hours for them to find a suitable new candidate who then has to interview and succeed in the interview process to then get hired. So if they have somebody that they're like, look, can we just sweep this under the rug? This is embarrassing and annoying, but whatever, we're going to do this.
Well, with Shelly Bond, they have. And I don't know why. I don't know if they specifically wanted to let her go, but they have a very simple, sales are really bad. They have been bad for years. You're the head editor. You are ultimately responsible for the line. We are letting you go.
Exactly. So coming from directly from a sales background and having been involved in firing processes, both for and against, I can tell you that the hiring and firing process in a sales capacity is much more fluid than it is in a non-compensated role. So in sales, they're able to say your payment is based on X number. If you're not making X number, then your employment is circumspect the right word? Then your employment is we'll see. Yeah. TBD. Whereas if your compensation is not tied to any sort of variable like that, then it's much, much harder to fire you. Yeah. So, if some douchebag is that bad language?
Man, you really don't care. Once you have that beer, man, it's like Popeye the Sailor Man. Just you go start going crazy.
That's true. Where is that beer? What this gentleman, which is, by the way, possibly the creepiest picture ever, they could have posted
they didn't pick a great
article.
No, they picked an amazing picture to post
because it was just.
I've met Eddie Berganza. I've talked with him before. So
really, was he talking to you and grabbing girls' butts?
Not when I talked to him.
Anyway, so it's unfortunate, but it's kind of like. Look, I'm not sympathizing. I think this guy's like a dirty a-hole.
Yeah, sure, of course. I
don't know the girl. I read the dude article because I was like, this seems like a crazy story.
So to recap real quick, Shelly Bond had been the assistant editor, or one of the assistant editors, and more recently the executive editor of Vertigo for 23 years since the formation of it.
Right. So what I'm saying is that, and this is, obviously from way, like, infinitely outside this situation, but what I can say to you objectively is that in the sales world, like, they set it up intentionally so that it is easier and less red tape to fire you if they don't like you. It's very easy for them to say, if you have a bad year, whatever it was, Vertigo just wasn't firing this year because of any number of things, and they can just sort of sweep it under the rug to whoever they answer to, the shareholders, whatever, the vice presidents, whatever. Whereas if they don't like you, or if it's time for you to go, if it's time to shift the roles, then they have a very easy excuse to say, you know what, you're supposed to be hitting these numbers. You're not. You can't sue us because this is, your employment is contingent upon hitting these numbers. We've let it go for X number of quarters or years. Sorry, not sorry. You're out of here. And so I do know that sales is very much like
when you're. I mean, I would assume an editor at a place like this, it's not directly a sales job, but I would assume there is a similar level of there are goals that must be hit.
Yeah, the books need to hit a certain mark, sales mark, all that stuff.
Well, this sounds more like it's a corporate restructuring. They're moving the Vertigo line under DC, which invalidates the head editor's position of Vertigo.
Right. So what's awesome and not awesome about being in sales is that, when you're hot, and she's probably like living the dream.
For 20 years,
If they love Vertigo, then she could live through several years or quarters, maybe, of them. And I think that's bad sales,
and that's
where
what's
she
happened.
keeps her employment as a salesperson. But what is it? The fucking coin flips both ways. The snake bites two heads. There's got to be an expression that I'm just not remembering at all here.
Well, Vertigo sales of the 23 years it's been around have had great sales for has had. If the sales of the single issues haven't been the best, the trade paperbacks and the books they've got out of them have been some of the best sellers the industry's ever seen.
Right, but when did that stop? I feel like that stopped a while ago.
5 years ago, right? When Image started getting
so
big.
She got to keep her job for 5 more years.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's totally bullshit inflammatory. I saw the Bleeding Cool article on the pedophile is not the right word. That's not what I'm saying.
Sexual harassment. Sexual harasser.
Yeah.
I want to clarify that none of us are defending the actions of this man.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is that the article though was making it like a her versus him thing, and it was like, what the fuck?
What it is
the internet lynch mob is.
What it is
what I have a problem
is
with.
everybody's people are lashing out that Shelley's being let go.
Yeah.
Be it for restructuring, be it for not hitting book totals or whatever. And what they're doing is they're saying, so you're letting this person go who's done great work for you, blah, 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 and yet you're keeping this douchebag?
Yeah.
Right? And that's why all this extra stuff has come out and so on and so forth.
But it's not a one-to-one.
No, it's not a one-to-one. It's basically they're lashing out trying to justify
the narrative that always goes on within a business during a restructuring and letting people go is just happening in a public forum in this case. It's always that guy sits on his ass. Why didn't you let him go? Why are you letting somebody who actually does work go?
Right. That's
the same thing.
So
it's just in a public forum.
I made a comment. Gail Simone has been very vocal about this. Not specifically this.
Spoiler alert.
Well, but
nobody needs.
I make a comment about this. So I want to read my comment real quick because I feel it touches on a couple subjects as well as something we haven't mentioned. I said, I think it's a more complex topic than a lot of people realize. I don't think anyone actually thinks harassment is a good thing. There's a lot of people like, why aren't the creators coming out and saying more about this? This is sort of the piece that I'm replying to. I said, but it can be hard to speak up in public. It seems a lot like the very vocal people online aren't working for DC and Marvel as much these days. Being seen as the person speaking out against your bosses can be very intimidating to a lot of people, and I'd understand why people wouldn't want to lose any possible work, especially in this economy. In the case of what's going on with DC, they took action against the offending person. As long as there's no more offenses, they can't legally fire them. I mean, they can come up with some other reason, put them in a corner and have them to do nothing. But if they were going to fire them, it would have happened at the time. Not saying any of this is right, but it's a tougher decision when your livelihood could be affected by speaking out. I don't envy anyone involved. And for Eddie Berganza, too.
Wait, you said that?
Yeah.
That was actually pretty eloquent.
He does
Thank you.
do good with words sometimes.
Thank you.
Like, I actually... Okay. That was actually... I'm not actually... yeah, I don't know what to say.
Now,
That
if
was,
only your Batman v Superman and Man of Steel commentary
twice.
could be like that.
anyway, that was actually really good. I didn't know that was you. I thought that was like a really intelligent person.
Hey.
There you go.
With Eddie Berganza, too, the tough situation with this as well is that, let's say DC does decide to let him go. This guy could never work again. And even if he's answered for his crimes, the first thing you do if you Google this guy's name is going to be like sexual harasser, right? It's a really shitty position for everyone. I don't envy anyone's position in this because DC looks bad by keeping him. He's fucked anyway, no matter what happens. The industry is another black eye. Bad choice of words there, maybe. It's a...
Wait, why bad choice of words? Did he hit people?
No, I don't know. I don't know. We don't know. All right.
Oh, I thought that he was just a Grabby McGrabberson.
I might be. We don't know. We don't know.
Oh.
I think if this was like a violent rape or hitting on someone at a bar, these are two very different events, right?
Yeah.
If he's a violent rapist, I can't picture Warner Brothers keeping him and sticking up for him. Possibly.
What?
No, but what I'm saying is I think people... no one knows the actual situation of what happened.
I think that it's much calmer.
Of course. But people always go to these extremes, right? And so I think that's why it's judged by the internet with their pitchforks is a real shitty thing to do. So,
okay.
It is unfortunate that Shelly Bond no longer works there.
Hey, but most likely Shelly's just going to go to Image.
It's very possible.
Yeah, dude. How's this? This is kind of what I was getting at behind. Is this even a story? Is that like she's going to go to Image? I'm shocked that she had her job for as long as she did. Frankly, not knowing the industry like inside story, fair play. But I mean, like she'll be fine, and he will not, and the universe will correct itself without the trolls.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally now can't Google this guy's name.
Yeah, no, right.
If they ever fire him or if he ever leaves, like, without the story coming out.
All right,
you said he was like head editor of Superman?
He's like the Superman group editor right now.
So why don't they fire him? Because those books are shit.
But they're not selling as bad as Vertigo. That's the problem.
I mean, as we already kind of covered, a lot of Vertigo's shift has to do with Image's rise.
Yeah, but the thing is if you compare Superman to Vertigo, Vertigo's the experimental part, right? Superman's supposed to be doing well. He's Superman, and yet the titles aren't selling nowhere near where they should.
That doesn't mean anything. If they wanted to, if they fired him and they said, "Oh, the sales of Superman are poor, we're firing you," he could turn to any other department and say, they suck on Justice League, they suck on Batman, everything but that one big title, right? The Superman sales are fine. They're not, abysmal like the Vertigo sales are. Bryce is really...
Dude, I wish this was a video podcast that all of you listeners could see Toby making love to this pita pocket. Dude, he has treated this pita pocket like no significant other in his life.
Toby loves his falafels.
Falafel, sorry.
Close
it
enough.
Is just... Like, he was just digging in there. It was making me jealous. He's got shit on his face. I wish this was periscoped.
It's like, don't bother him. He's eating.
Toby, are you done enough with your falafel to talk about some Marvel comics?
Dude, Marvel comics are the best comics.
So, we now have seven glorious Marvel #1 comics that we are going to discuss the first issue of. We were doing these pretty regularly. But now it's they've slowed down their release, so we're kind of catching up on the last couple months worth. And
thank God, there's only so much goodness I can ingest.
I think there's
one
only
month at a time.
I think there's about 5 or 6 we haven't covered, and only about 5 or 6 more coming. So we're at for now.
There's still more coming.
Well, the Civil War, the Civil War stuff.
Oh, dude, speaking of coming, how funny was the Deadpool teaser, like about the digital download.
I saw that.
Like, come on, that was pretty clever.
I haven't seen it
No
yet.
movie's done that. That was actually kind of clever.
Yeah,
So wait,
Deadpool has fun setting all sorts of standards for stuff movies have never done.
Yeah.
Deadpool said he was coming early, and it's like not a problem he normally has. But,
okay,
you know,
okay.
yeah, no.
I thought it was fucking hilarious.
Did it seem like a Viagra commercial at first?
No. So let's discuss some of these Marvel number ones, and then we're
need
going
to
to
go get a beer,
Then we're going to
seriously.
finish up the episode.
Maybe I will. Where is it? Where are they?
In the refrigerator in the back.
We have a refrigerator in the back.
Oh, yeah.
And then we are going to finish up the episode with our Daredevil Season 2
Oh,
spoiler
by the way,
talk.
Daredevil Season 2 is incredible. Almost as incredible as all of the Marvel number ones. I lost steam because that's not true at all.
Okay.
I was like, you cannot say that about these ones.
By the way, if you guys are fans of this podcast, you should go and join our Facebook group, the Comic Conspiracy and Geek Box. How do they join?
that sounds right, yeah.
Anyway, Charlie's beautiful wife posted a picture of him with the most hair you've ever seen ever.
I have commented on that picture at their house multiple times. I'm like, that's Charlie?
Anyway.
And you know, or Charlie just says, and then walks away. I'm like, there has to be stories behind this
Yeah.
picture.
It literally looks like Charlie is straight out of the
Compton?
Yeah, that too. Out of like 90s.
Oh, with the hair part in the middle?
All the artists broke
Exactly.
off from Marvel and DC, and they started
exactly.
Image. And
Exactly. I'm pretty sure he was going to draw the Savage Dragon for me. Except that I don't think that Jim Zub ever wrote Savage Dragon, so never mind. But anyway, you guys should all join that Facebook group. I know that for half the audience listening, if young people listen to this, that Facebook might be a little passé for you. But anyway.
We were all such beautiful people just right out of high school, and then age set in, and now we're all a bunch of withered. We look like the end of Game of Thrones this last episode. Spoiler.
Oh!
Not you, Bryce. You're still beautiful.
Well, that's
The rest of us are fucking hideous trolls. So let's talk about
No, everybody's just as beautiful. Look, how about that?
in our different ways.
How about Game of Thrones? That
I'm not going to spoil Game of Thrones like Brock's fucking epic Game of Thrones spoiler.
Dude, that
from
was
years
a
ago.
crazy,
the
like,
worst.
spoiler fail.
Yeah,
that was incredible.
yeah.
I forget. Did you edit that out?
After
cool.
I had it up for a day, I forgot to edit it.
Okay.
So
yeah,
let's-
that was a pretty big fail.
Let's cover Black Widow number 1 by Mark Waid, by the Daredevil creative team,
dude!
of Mark
Wait.
Waid, Chris Samney.
Don't you have more DC stuff to talk about? I have to use the facilities, and I shouldn't have said that. Can you edit that out?
We will all.
No. Wait,
we
but
will
I need to go to the fridge and use and do something else.
go do that. We
But
will.
I need to talk about Black Widow. It was
Okay.
so good.
Okay, we
well,
will-
It was very good.
4 of us will talk about it while you go do your business.
he is running in his work clothes into the back.
So,
This really should have been a live video
Yeah,
podcast
should have
today.
So I loved Mark Waid and Chris Samney's work on Daredevil prior, so I was very excited to see them come back for this. As far as issue number 1 goes, interesting. I wouldn't say I loved
the
it.
fastest book I've
Yeah,
ever
no,
read in my entire life.
You hadn't read it
This
yet.
is like faster than that Jim Henson book that I read.
Oh yeah.
Well, I had read it, and I asked you if you had read it, and you said no, you haven't had time.
And then I
I'm like,
flipped through
I'm
it
like, it takes like 2 minutes. You're like,
Yeah.
no, it doesn't. I'm like, trust me. And then you were like, holy crap, it only took
it
me like
does.
2 minutes.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say the issue's not bad or anything like that. You're thrown into the middle of a story where Black Widow is escaping from a S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier, and all of S.H.I.E.L.D. is after her, and you don't know why, and you don't know what's going on.
And that's it.
And that's it. And that's the issue. And it's a cool issue. It's a cool setup. I mean, I love Chris Samney's art.
Pretty cinematic, actually.
Yeah, it is. Sure. But it's a very quick. You don't get a lot out of this first issue. If you don't know Black Widow, you're not going to have any idea what's going on within the context of this issue.
It's a chick in black with red hair running around kicking butt.
Yeah.
See, I just kept having flashbacks to the beginning of Civil War with Captain America.
Yeah. Interesting first issue. I do like it, but I'll definitely keep reading it.
Yeah.
It's Black Widow. Sure. The last
Wait,
Black
you're
Widow
having
series.
flashbacks to Civil War the movie? Did you already watch it?
No, to
comic.
the comic,
Oh.
because the comic started out very similarly with Captain
actually-
America on a
I've actually read,
helicarrier
Gotcha.
and diving off it.
Okay.
I've actually read issue 2, and it slows down a little bit.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
actually has more dialogue and stuff. So it's setting up some pretty cool stuff. So I definitely think it's one that people should check out.
Yeah, the previous Black Widow series I was interested in, but I fell off on it and I didn't keep going with it. So.
The pacing of it got a little like awkward once it got to the teens.
Yeah.
I like
And-
the previous Black Widow series.
And I can see why the sales numbers dropped on it, but I mean, I enjoyed it for what I read of it.
Yeah. Would you like? Oh, Charlie's giving me money. Thank you. What's this for?
Are you giving out money
For the rest
Civil
of the
War
tickets.
movie tickets.
Yes. Before I
Super Bowl
forget,
tickets?
What?
Super Bowl tickets?
Yes.
Civil War movie tickets.
Civil War.
I sold them my Super Bowl tickets from a couple months ago.
For $10?
We're just going to get rid of them.
Steal.
So, well, I feel bad about moving on, but Bryce will be back in a second. We can let him catch up on all these books here. But let's move on to how about I skip one for him? I'll save this one until he comes back. Let's talk about Power Man and Iron Fist #1. Oh, of course, this is the version that doesn't have the creator listed on top. This is by David Walker and Sanford Green. So, hey, perfect timing, Bryce. What do you think of Black Widow?
Oh, Black Widow? Okay, let me just give you 10 seconds of Black Widow, is what Black Widow's ex-husband said to her. Wait. No, that didn't work out at all.
Yeah, not at all.
I loved it.
10
It
seconds
reminded
up.
me of the
7.
David Aja Iron Fist stuff. Did you guys already talk about this? Anyway, loved it
9.
on the Bryce scale that everybody loves, aka nobody loves. I give it a buy. This was a minimal writing, obviously, but great art. Very David Aja style. In fact, he didn't do this, did he?
It's Chris Samney.
Okay, anyway. Loved it. Not much story, obviously, but I think the art in those great art stories sort of did all the writing for him. So good job for you, Mr. Wade. Great story. We'll be picking up #2. But anyway, great story. Yes, bye. Bryce, bye.
Cool. Power Man and Iron Fist #1 again. David Walker and Sanford Green. So I like Power Man and Iron Fist generally. I like the Heroes for Hire stuff. This issue was okay. I don't know the backstory of the character. I'm blanking on her name. Jenny. Yeah. If this is from a previous
I don't remember.
book, I don't remember what this is in reference to, but basically Power Man and Iron Fist get together to help one of their friends, save her from a tombstone?
Well, not
Tombstone.
reclaim property from Tombstone.
Yeah.
So do you
and
think?
and it's
Bum,
got a
bum, bum.
if you're ever read ever read Quantum and Woody, I feel a little
Yeah.
bit of similarity
Yeah.
to the classic Quantum and Woody stuff, or as well as maybe the new stuff. The art's not really my style. I think it's interesting. I think it was interesting.
Off, Ryan.
It's
What?
definitely stylistic, though.
Yeah, sure. I thought it was an interesting first issue. I mean,
No, the art definitely fits the book in the field that they want to go for.
Yeah.
So.
Yes,
Yeah.
I hate agreeing with Brock, but I do agree. I don't think that it was quote-unquote good art, but it was great for this story. I loved this art.
cool.
Yeah. So overall, I enjoyed the issue. It's not something I can see following long term. Is kind of what it comes down to. But like I even enjoyed some of the gags that they were kind of running with it, with like the fiddle faddle or whatever it was, because he was trying not to swear. And,
Well, there's only so many breeders on this podcast, my fellow Charlie. But anyway, Power Man is trying not to swear because Jessica Jones hates it when he swears in front of the baby.
But she
instead
swears
of
like a
saying
sailor in
"fuck,"
front of the kid all
he
the time.
says fiddle faddle. So he'll say several times across the issue, "What the fiddle faddle?" And Iron Fist will be like, "Wow, that is just craziness that you're saying."
So they turn into Mr. T.
Like, holy fiddle faddle.
They kind of play Iron Fist up a bit of as a buffoon in this issue,
Yeah.
though.
yeah, but
And
it's
if I
not-
have a complaint, it's that they
Well, I didn't like that as much, but I thought that was more sort of pushing the Power Man agenda, for better or for worse, making him cooler than maybe he would be or not, but maybe more comedic relief than buffoon.
Well,
I won't disagree.
it's just not consistent with the more recent
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist
Well,
series.
that Iron Fist was way just
Are you about to tell me you didn't survive Secret Wars?
probably not.
How dare you?
Well, this
both.
looks like that weird. The Iron Fist in this looks like when he teamed up with that other Power Man guy. Remember when they had that weird ass?
Oh, the kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That miniseries.
that was some bullshit. I don't know what that was a dumb thing. So it's weird they would use that. I feel like it's a similar style.
Well, Iron Fist from like Brewbreaker's run. I mean, I haven't gotten to read it yet.
Yeah.
Which thanks. I might actually pick up I was thinking about buying something extra today.
good stuff.
But the like that stuff's really good. It's really solid. It gives a good foundation for Iron Fist. But then, like, you read stuff that's like the last iteration of Iron Fist, and it doesn't have the same feel. It's more disconjointed and
so.
And the art on that book,
both versions, Iron Fist,
this one,
the last one,
Iron Fist kind of comes off as a badass in both of those versions. Whether or not you're talking about the Brubaker run or the previous series, this Iron Fist
Is Spider-Man?
kind of yeah.
Yep.
yeah, he's
mind you,
he's jokes.
Toby.
That all being said, as long as you sort of take it in that context, it was a fun read for, as I said, it works for me on like a mini series level.
Yeah.
I can't see picking this up. Ongoing.
Definitely no.
Well, I like it far better than any of you guys. I thought the plot was a little thin, but I'm hoping there's a lot more to it. But
What? Who said they didn't like it?
well, they're all saying, miniseries, blah blah. I would read this for 50 issues if the plot gets bigger.
Was I looking at Facebook on my phone? Did anybody say the word miniseries once?
No,
I did.
Fuck you, John.
Well, no, I just, as I said, my take on it is I enjoy it. I do, like, I've even read multiple issues past this one.
Yes.
Well, this feels like the recent Marvel stuff where I don't see an ongoing book here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I enjoy it from the idea of, like, you collect a trade or two of it. I don't necessarily see myself going, like, as Toby said, I don't see myself getting to issue 50.
I would if the story gets better. Like I said, the plot is really thin.
I would. That's fucking.
No, because
what does Ryan Scott say? That's a box quote.
No,
and these
because
guys-
I like the feel
Wait, hold
for
on.
it. I like the.
Sanford Green's also not doing 12 issues in a row in this book, so that's another problem.
Well, he
Its
should.
creative team's off by issue 8.
Anyway, yes. If the story gets better, I could go to issue 50.
Yeah.
Is something
the
that I
plot
could say
is
about
really thin.
literally any book.
If Grant Morrison and Jeff Johns take over Power Man and Iron Fist, I'll keep
this is
reading.
not what I'm trying to say.
You'll actually buy it.
I could get to issue 50.
I'm-
No. So, despite Toby's hating of his fellow podcasters, I actually liked the book. I didn't love it, but I would put it right in between a buy and a rent, or a buy and a burn read. I forget what my own scale is, but yeah, I liked the book. I didn't love it, but I did like it. I mean, it was a good story, very good art for the that fit the story.
Toby liked the story, everything except the story.
No, I like the feel of the book.
Yeah,
I like the
yeah.
style. I like the writing. Maybe
As
the Iron
asinine
Fist.
as that is, I totally agree with that.
No, like
No, it's
Iron
got
Fist is
that.
a little Spider-Man-ish, but other than that, and the plot was kind of, so if there, there's a little more to a twist to it in the second book, I'm all for it.
It's Archer and Armstrong. It's Quantum and Woody. It's
Yeah, yeah.
It's the odd couple.
You mean
that's
Starman and
basically
Iron
what it is.
Fist, which I'm going to retcon to
odd-
be the original
The
Sure.
odd couple.
of those.
Sure.
There you go. Craig, thanks for the rail splitter. That's a euphemism.
Craig's
All right,
probably
let's
opening
move
packs
on
right now.
to one more book. Actually, we got many more books. Let's move on to another one. This is Spider-Man #1, the Miles Morales Spider-Man, by Brian Michael Bendis and Sarah Pichelli. He fights some dude. I don't know. I didn't care for this at all.
Oh,
I
you're just
I thought it
objectively
was-
wrong as usual.
extremely dull and not interesting. I have never read a comic with Miles Morales in it outside of Secret Wars.
Me too.
So
Me too.
I have no knowledge of this character.
Oh wait, me less. Because
Yeah,
I didn't even read the Secret War stuff.
Did you not
Me
read
less.
the
I
Ultimate
like
stuff?
that.
Huh?
Did you not read the Ultimate stuff?
No.
Oh, why did you get the trades?
Yes.
You
It
just
does seem
haven't read
weird
them
that
yet?
you wouldn't be on this train. It
I
seems
know.
like this would be your thing.
I know. So I was actually kind of excited to read this, and I really, really dug the art.
Dude, the art was fucking great.
Yeah.
The story,
Yeah, art's
despite
fine.
Higgins hating
Yeah,
on
because
it,
Higgins doesn't give a shit about art, so of course he's like, this book
like, I
is
feel
horrible.
like I'm going to be like
I often am very positive about the art.
I feel like I'm going to
My
be
woman is an artist.
I was talking about Samnia, Chris Samnia on Daredevil just at the beginning of this on Daredevil.
trying to
and-
push
You already
Fucking
covered
Ben?
Daredevil?
No, Daredevil and Black
Dude,
Widow.
Daredevil is fucking one of the
Well,
top three books right
we
now.
talked about Daredevil months ago,
Top
and that book
five, top
is really not great.
Wait, what?
We talked about Daredevil months ago.
You think that Daredevil
What?
is not a great book?
No.
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 It's not up to par with what it used to
Yeah.
be. And
That doesn't fucking make it good or bad. That's a fucking
it's-
non-statement. It's not up to par with
the
what it used to be.
worst-
What does that even mean?
It's the worst Daredevil has been in nearly 20 years, with the exception. It's second to worst, with the exception of the Shadowland stuff. I'm not saying
I was
it's.
about to
Wait.
say.
I want to hear what
I'm
Charlie
not
has
saying
to
it's
say.
terrible.
Spoiler alert: Charlie loves it.
Here's the
because-
problem: Daredevil's had like the greatest creative teams on it the last like 20 years.
Okay, well, I haven't. Okay, I can't fucking combat that.
Yeah,
I haven't read it. I've heard that it's incredible, and I just haven't read it.
Bendis stuff, the Brubaker stuff, and then Mark Wade's run. All those are top notch.
Wait, what was after Mark Wade?
The Shadowland stuff.
The
Charles Soule.
one.
The Shadowland stuff was real.
Yeah, the Shadowland stuff was after the Brubaker run,
yeah.
but before
We
the Wade
just
run.
forget that Shadowland ever happened.
It's real bad. Oh, and Kevin Smith was really good too.
They keep like dropping references to Shadowland.
It's so bad.
Even
It's so
I
bad.
am like, I haven't read any of the good stuff or the bad stuff. But
So
like,
bad.
why do you keep dropping Shadowland stuff? Like,
Well, so okay, let's go back to Spider-Man here. What do you,
All right.
I mean? So,
dude, can I?
What-
So let me just say, I am
What
a
sold you on
recent
this
convert to the Church of Hate for Bendis. Like, I used to fucking sing his praises from the highest tower, and I have a bad sense of time, I guess, but like only the past 6 to 12 months have I like really started disliking everything
in
that he
between the
does.
wait for Uncanny X-Men 600 and the release of it.
Dude,
that was about 6 months.
That's like a fucking decade, dude. That's not even fair. But yeah, so or maybe it was because, in fact, I think actually now that we're joking about it, the turning point was Uncanny X-Men 600.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, all new X-Men got real bad towards the end of its run. The last handful of issues before Uncanny 600
no, this is a whole
were
separate
dumb.
podcast episode as to why I tend to corn on Bendis. But anyway, so like, you know, I didn't like the fact that I just don't know how to say this without being like rude or some sort of like bad person. But
You don't like the fat Asian kid?
which one is that? That
His
doesn't
best
narrow
friend?
it down. Oh no, I don't mind him.
Oh, okay.
But what I have a problem is with like. Okay, this is terrible as a white male, but
just get it.
As female Thor or Black Spider-Man, it's like, you know, we can't find any comic characters that are female that are good. Like Miss Marvel is fucking awesome. She's a female. She's basically a new character. She's awesome. But with Spider-Man, they're like, okay, well, you know, we'll just have Spider-Man and we'll just make him like a black teenager instead of a white teenager, and it's like this totally original character, and it's like, well,
No,
yeah,
he's not. He's just Peter Parker.
but he's just Peter Parker,
with a different name.
and he's a black kid instead. And so, to that extent, I'm always frustrated with Bendis. Like he's reinventing the wheel, and it's like, well, actually, in no way whatsoever. But anyway, I like how it has been. How long has Miles Morales been around? It feels like probably now like a decade. Like it's been a long time.
No,
5-6 years.
Those are 5 years, maybe.
All right. Well, somebody fucking
Gotta be longer.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's got to be longer than
I
that.
thought that it was longer
No,
than
it's
that.
not longer
but,
than that.
It's longer than it's.
well,
Ryan on the computer.
Ryan Higgins is on Google.
Yeah, 2011 sounds about right. Let me see. Yep, Fallout Ultimate 4, August 2011. Yep, 5 years.
God damn it. Higgins is right. So anyway,
No, the internet is right. He's just retelling what the internet is saying.
well, anyway.
No,
so,
I said 2011 before.
anyway,
Fallout.
so yeah, I don't know. I thought that it was you know, it's been around for longer, but I like that it took a long time. He's been it wasn't sort of like an idea like Dark Claw that he's just or not he, but like somebody.
Dark?
Well, no.
Where are you going with this?
No.
Get to the point.
My point about Dark Claw is that like that would have been
You're
so
talking about the amalgam character?
yeah,
What?
yeah. How awesome was that, by the way?
Where are you going?
I have
Okay,
no
I'm
clue
going to
where
do a
it's
little
going
a
with
mini
that
Bryce
one.
aside, which everybody loves.
You need to have a little bit
Charlie,
more
what
than
did you think of this
hold
comic?
on. So I made an amalgam comment about Dark Claw about like a year and a half ago, and somebody on Twitter was like, "Fucking good pull on Dark Claw," and I was like proud of myself because I was like, "Yeah, fucking Dark Claw was awesome. You're welcome for bringing it up. Dark Claw was amazing." And mic drop. Anyway, so my point is that Dark Claw, they could have just kept around. Similarly, although very differently from Miles Morales, they could have just kept him around because they're like, stubborn Bendis is like, or Marvel is like, okay, look, we got to make Bendis happy. He's Marvel's, you know, Jeff Johns. We just got to do whatever he says, and we'll just keep him around. It's sort of like, who's the 17th Green Lantern? Baz. Who's that Green Lantern that it's like, oh no, we can only have 2 human Green Lanterns in Sector 2816. Oh no, we can have 3 human Green Lanterns. Oh no, we can have 4 human Green Lanterns.
It's 2814.
2014. Oh no, we can have 6. And so they just keep on fucking like, oh no, but this is the last Green Lantern. And then Jeff Johns is like, well, I'm fucking Jeff Johns, grabs his junk, and then he creates Baz. Anyway, so
what does this have to do with Spider-Man?
No, it's very related. Like Jeff Johns is like, "Fuck you! I'm going to create Baz as a minority character of a major line." This is directly relevant to Bendis being like, "Fuck you! I'm going to create a minority character of a major line." This is fucking exactly pertinent. So anyway, I expected him to go by the wayside, much like Baz has. Like, Baz doesn't have his own comics, and maybe he fucking will. Maybe he's the best Green Lantern character that's ever been, although I fucking call shenanigans on that. But anyway, it's taken a long time for him to get his own 616 main line. Yeah. It comes out, he acts like Peter Parker, and maybe this is my bias, but like, I liked it that he's this insecure teenager. The art was great. Yes. The story was very good. And
he fights some dude.
Or how about very solid? Will you meet me in the middle with very solid?
I mean,
okay.
It was
Will
all
you
right.
meet me in the middle with very solid?
No,
it's okay.
Really? Is it sub very solid?
Yeah, it was 5 out of 10. Very mediocre.
5 out of 10. That's your fucking review for like every Marvel movie ever. Okay. You're just objectively wrong.
The art's fine.
Anyway.
Do you like the shield from the Civil War trailer? Little shout out?
Yeah, I did, but fucking don't ask Higgins.
It is average. It is 5 out of 10. It is middle of the road.
What fucking school did you go to where you get 5 out of 10 and that's a passing grade?
Okay, then it's a C. How about that? If you need that.
Well, anyway. Fucking whatever.
The art's nice.
This is, for me, a very good book in between a buy and a rent for me. Okay. We spent way too much time in this book. There's way better books to get to. And way worse.
My question is, since I didn't read the Ultimate stuff yet, which I really want to now, do the sidekicks come from the merger? From the universe?
Yes.
They just come with him? So not only do some of these characters come over, but some of the
we don't talk
family
about
characters that just come with him?
Well, I mean, it's
don't
like
think about it too hard.
His parents and all that. The way the universe got reformed.
They just happen to come along.
Well, it's the you put all the puzzle pieces together.
Okay.
Their apartment
don't be an idiot.
Came in and the school
but,
came over.
No, I like this issue. I especially like it.
Spoiler alert, Charlie likes it.
With the relation to the all-new, all-different Avengers, because it kind of feels like this takes care of that insertion rather than having to do it in that book. Not to mention, I kind of like how they're pulling on the stuff that they've set up in the all-new, all-different Avengers to kind of pad out some of the character interactions within this book. I'm not used to 2 different books feeling as well connected between 2 different writers as that, just because you don't see that often. Most of the time you get consistencies between writers writing the same books, and therefore they kind of feel like they work together.
Ryan is laughing for them.
Brock gave me a look.
No, can I finish? I get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I thought Spider-Man had the art was amazing on it.
Amazing?
Yes.
Really?
Like, dude, you just have fucking bad opinions.
I think it's a very mediocre book. I don't.
The art is really good.
The art is nice.
Yeah, the
art is fucking great, dude. What the fuck is wrong with you? The art is great.
The art works very, very well, but to me, this feels like Bendis is just rehashing his Ultimate Spider-Man stuff.
Show me.
Well, but it's a reintroduction to the character because, as we know, a lot more people bought this than were buying the book.
This is like my first outing on this, right? So I do.
So many people's.
And as a first outing, I think it's a total failure because I think you have no idea what's going on with this character. With this
would you say
issue.
that it's a chink in the armor of the Miles Morales universe?
I do feel like I've been missing out on Miles all this time, so I'm going back to read all the other stuff.
I had the worst joke, and I'm just not going to say it.
And there's a little preview of the new store bags on page 4.
Yeah, so where our new store bags are supposed to be red bags with white logo or black logo for Spider-Man, and they flipped it. So now our store bags is going to be the Miles Morales Spider-Man logo, apparently. So look forward to that.
I think the other thing for me was, like you said, Ryan, like he fights this random character, this random villain that just kind of pops out of nowhere, and Spider-Man takes care of it, and then it's like, oh, look, we have the Avengers are all beaten, and then we have Peter Parker Spider-Man coming in to say, what did you do? So it's like...
What's wrong with that?
I mean, because I don't know anything about this.
Actually,
villain.
I'm wrong. I did read Miles Morales before. It's a little team up with Peter Parker, and I actually really dug that. So I'm all for this book.
Spider-Man?
Yes.
Men?
I actually kind of like that book.
Okay, can we talk about a book that I think we can all agree on?
Not
The
necessarily.
stupidest book. Not.
Well,
it's
no, because I mean, that Patsy.
Wait, dude, before you get to the
Hellcat
stupidest
book was
book, can I talk about the actual stupidest book?
What's that?
The worst X-Men #1?
No.
Dude,
No.
can I get 30 Bryce seconds?
No.
I'll
You know,
ask
those
for
are
it later.
longer than dog years, right?
Dude, the worst X-Men #1, Higgins was trolling me about that for so long, but I finally read it. It's actually really funny. I recommend everybody pick up the worst X-Men #1 before you pick up any issue of All New X-Men or any issue of All New Wolverine.
Squirrel Girl?
I'm going to give you a spoiler, and this is only because, so fast forward if you don't want to hear it. The only reason is because I don't think that anybody will pick it up otherwise.
Nobody can pick it up because nobody ordered it.
Well, that's fair play. But it's about a kid that finds out he's a sentinel, finds out he's a mutant, and during the issue, Sentinels literally step on his parents, and his family dies because of it. And it's like, in the biggest what the fuck moment, this is the book that if it had a better title and or better art, Higgins would be like, man, this is the best fucking story ever. Like, if it didn't have...
Did Tom King write this?
Literally, if this was the worst Teen Titans ever, or, like, the worst any DC team character ever, like, if it had been, what's the fucking, like, like the worst Omega Man ever.
Is this the Prez of Marvel?
Higgins would be on the roof of this thing throwing out copies like Lil Wayne to the Fremont high school kids, just like, buy my book, motherfuckers, buy my book. It's so good.
And Higgins is totally not following on this right now.
Dude, so his parents take him to Charles Xavier, and he's like, "I'm sorry, you're a mutant. Like, this is a tough life for you to lead."
Is this before?
And
or after
they're
Sentinels
walking
step
out to
on
the
them?
car to like leave. He's like, "Oh, I just have the worst mutant power ever." And then his parents get. I'm giving a huge spoiler away that like really made the book for me, but I have to say this because Higgins is such a troll. Like on the way walking back out to the car to go home, his parents get stepped on by Sentinels and die. And he's just like, what the fuck? So anyway, like
What's
there's
his
a
power?
lot more awesome. I won't spoil that part. That I spoiled the best part already. But like you should, if you see this book, it is worth so much more than so many of the other Marvel books out there. And and part of it is the whole BVS like lowered expectations, right? Like if you have your expectations lowered, like I did to the worst X-Men ever #1, like you will go into it and you will just love it because your
Bryce,
expectations are so low.
Do you remember we're recording 2 episodes tonight?
Dude, I got fucking
Hey,
old.
hey.
Anyway, go read that before a lot of Marvel titles. It's not the best, but it's not the worst.
How about this?
You'll most likely
Whoa.
find it in a dollar bin.
I have a spin-off idea with Bryce. Why don't we do audiobooks where you read X-Men books as a podcast with your little ad-libbings?
I'm not sure that
That would be brilliant.
Would sell a single copy.
No, I would sell more than a single copy.
40 hours for every issue.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a book that you might want to buy
for it.
briefly after you buy Worst X-Man Ever, and that's Hyperion #1 by Chuck Wending and Nick Varela.
Is he an Inhuman now?
This is the stupidest comic book I've read in quite some time. It's not bad. It's
pointless.
stupid.
It's pointless.
So this just in, Brock agreed with Higgins.
So you don't like
so-
Mad Max Supreme Power?
So Hyperion meets a girl named Doll.
He doesn't meet her.
Why do you
She
say
finds
girl
him.
like with a question mark? She's a girl.
I don't
Is that
know.
like, are you unsure about your gender like characterization?
No. Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's definitely a girl,
I
so I'm
don't
not sure why
know.
you're so hestant unless you're like
I don't know.
You know.
And then fights off
girl.
Then fights off Mad Max Circus Freaks. This is the stupidest book I've read in quite some time.
Well, you know what they were going for, right? My favorite Punisher run, where Punisher is kind of Laura Moria Boogeyman. So with
I
this,
can't
they're
even-
like, we're gonna have a little girl go find him, and he'd be like a
God.
mysterious
I'm
dude.
so angry.
No,
It doesn't work.
It's like the dumbest thing I've read.
Yes.
Have you
Adam
read
Thor.
issue 2?
No, I don't want
It
to.
doesn't get much better.
I don't want to. I stop it right here. This
Dude.
was the book that I did not want to read in this entire pile. It was at the very bottom, and I was like, if I really have to, I guess I'll read it for a podcast and then regret it.
Look, so Hyperion #1 is
Why did they even do this?
I'm not going to, get on my soapbox for this, but I will say, how many fucking times has any superpowered being tried to? And most I can liken it to any Wolverine fucking book where the superhero tries to leave his powers behind to be like the everyman, and it doesn't work out. And I don't think that this fails so much as the other Wolverine stories that try to do the exact same thing, or the Superman stories that try to do the exact same thing, where it's just like,
Well, my question is, who at Marvel decided, you know what two franchises we should expand on? The Inhumans and the Squadron Supreme. These characters do not necessarily lend themselves...
Wait, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
What?
They have two stories, so they're trying to expand that universe?
They had Squadron Supreme, they have Hyperion, and there's a Nighthawk series coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Well...
Now,
first of all, I didn't know that. Second of all, Nighthawk is Batman, so how could you even fault them for that?
Now, when the J. Michael Straczynski stuff was coming out, that was sort of a world within itself.
That was cool.
So I got it, right?
That was cool.
Wait a minute.
Even though it didn't go anywhere.
Right.
That was really cool.
This is not
you got to be a
that.
huge idiot to say that Marvel trying to have a Batman story is a bad idea. Is that your argument?
Well, this is their Superman story.
Right, which has been a fucking terrible failure for DC for years, which Ryan can corroborate. But will Ryan not corroborate is that Justice League and Batman are terrible sales at DC, and that's exactly what Squadron Supreme and Hyperion are. Or, sorry, Nighthawk are. Correct or incorrect?
You say Justice League and Batman are bad sales?
No, I'm saying they're the best sales.
Oh,
they
yeah,
are
yeah,
not
yeah.
bad sales.
Right.
They are the best
But
sales.
Hyperion is not Superman. That's the problem.
No, I'm saying that Superman is bad sales. That is what I'm saying. Is that incorrect?
I mean, it's fine for Superman. It's not tearing up the charts, but it does well.
Look, will you fucking try to...
It says better than
hear
Hyperion.
the words that are coming out of my mouth, you motherfucker. I'm saying that Hyperion is Superman. He has mediocre to bad sales. Nighthawk, though, is Batman, who has great sales. How could you fault them for trying to replicate that pattern?
It's not Batman.
Because the thing is
That's not what I said. I said, how can you fault them for trying to replicate that pattern, though?
because it's too early.
Nighthawk is Batman. That's their attempt at Batman.
But it's...
Yes or no? Is Nighthawk Marvel's attempt at Batman?
Yeah, but you know what else has bad
Yes,
sales?
it is. And
Midnighter has bad sales, which is Marvel's attempt at Superman, or Marvel's attempt at Batman, and that has really terrible
Midnighter
sales.
is not Marvel.
DC's attempt,
What the fuck
Wildstorm's
are you even talking
attempt
about, dude?
at and it's got bad sales. So
Anyway,
DC has a
That
DC
is a Wildstorm
and
first.
Moon Knight has had
Wildstorm is almost as successful as Marvel. Right?
and Moon Knight has had 15 series that have all had terrible
So
sales.
Justice League
Hey.
and Batman, the top two DC sales of out of their top 5, correct or incorrect? Correct is the answer that you're looking for. So Nighthawk and Squadron Supreme, you're gonna fault them for trying this formula?
it's
dude, what a fucking short-sighted argument. Is that your argument?
it's not. I mean,
It's too early.
What are you arguing with?
Bryce. It is not the same character. You're never,
But is it?
ever going to pitch someone a Nighthawk comic and be like, "Well, you like Batman, you like Nighthawk." No, they started out as a loose parody of these characters
Yes.
to sort of be like, "Oh, look, we can make
And
fun
they're
of the
trying
Justice
to
League."
make them 1-to-1.
No, they're not.
No, because the thing is, with something like Squadron Supreme and the Straczynski stuff, I've heard great things about it, and I want to read it. And
It was its own world.
it was its own world. And the thing
Which
is,
is what made
they
it
came
work.
out with Squadron Supreme after Secret Wars,
And it was the Max line when he was doing
and the
it.
thing is they come out with Squadron Supreme after Secret Wars, and it's done fairly well.
I like the book. Yeah, I
And
like
the thing
Squadron Supreme.
you want to establish these characters and bring people into these characters, and then branch off from that. But Marvel's taking it where, oh, we have Squadron Supreme, so let's throw out a Hyperion book. Oh, let's throw out a Nighthawk book. It's too much at one time, because if you were like, oh, let me pick up Hyperion because I actually have a copy of #1, but Squadron Supreme doesn't have it, you read this and go, why the fuck do I want to read Squadron Supreme?
Yeah, it's not. It's not even the same character, which is real weird.
And that, for me, is more my problem with this book. I don't really care that they put out a Hyperion book because they've done a good job of hyping up that character with the Avengers prior to Secret War and then now to this. So it does not surprise me at all that they put out a book around Hyperion. It did bother me that it felt like a different character. Like the Hyperion that I'm used to reading is not about sort of hiding from the public eye.
This is more
He's much more
like Huck.
Okay, I will grant you that it's weird to introduce a number 1 where he's doing the Wolverine thing where he's trying to hide from society. I will grant you that. But
It seems very anti the character to me.
Okay, I cannot disagree with that. That is a fair point.
This book reminds me a lot of the Sentry stuff they were trying to force us into.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, again, the Sentry, I think, is a great example because I thought that was an interesting character. It went in a different direction than Superman. It tried to have this mystery, and it did. And I felt he was cool. But once the mystery was over, the character there was no interest in him. Mm-hmm. They basically had to bring in the Void and kill him off. Was it Mighty Avengers or
it was in oh god,
it was in Dark Avengers.
No, it was in
it was during the Dark
Siege.
Avengers stuff, and then
Siege.
in Siege. Yeah.
During all those books. So I like Squadron Supreme, but you're not going to get 5 books out of this. You're barely going to get 3 books. So if they had a pitch like
books
this,
you mean trades.
I mean, ongoing titles. If you have that Straczynski pitch where you're going to go in and launch this as a self-contained thing in its own world, and you get the complexities of these characters in their own world or their own universe, that's fine. But shoehorning him in as some trucker driving across the country and fighting Mad Max ripoffs, like there is not. This book is doomed from page 1, issue 1, because this is not a character that anyone has a connection to. You could do this story with Wolverine and people would probably buy it. Mm-hmm. Hyperion, there's no one's interested.
I mean, the art in it is nice. It's good.
It's mediocre. It's whatever.
It's good art, but the thing
you
is,
fucking like this art and not the Miles Morales art.
It's
no, I like the Miles Morales art.
No, you didn't.
Oh,
let's move on.
Jesus.
Let's move on to Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev,
Punch you in your
the
nice
legendary creative team on Daredevil and International Iron Man #1. This takes a young Tony Stark in college as he's it flashes back. The majority of the issue is him flashing back to where's her name? Cassandra, a new character that we introduced. Of course, I don't have her last name sitting here in front of me, but I'll find it. Who is the
Cassandra Cain? Anybody? No. Batman?
She's being
on purpose.
Her and her whole family are being hunted down by Hydra. And but she's a rich
Gillespie.
Gillespie, Cassandra Gillespie, and
love Toby.
So
no pants.
Late teenage Tony Stark is trying to kind of wine and dine. Yeah, wine and dine this heiress, and then her entire family's killed by Hydra. So now we're sort of getting jumping back and forth between his meeting of her and much later when she's missing an eye and is now attacking Tony Stark. So, I hate to use that word interesting because I feel like I've said it a couple times.
In Hollywood, that means it sucked.
Yeah, this is an interesting comic. I thought it was a cool setup for a first issue, but I'm curious what the tone of the entire series is going to be, if they're going back and forth, or because if this is just another random Iron Man book.
Well, to me, it felt like this was something that we would read about in between a big Iron Man story that just finished, and it would help lead into the newest one. Like Tony's remembering something,
like a one shot.
It's like a one shot, or it's a small little 2-3 issue arc within regular Iron Man
before the next big arc.
Before the next big arc starts.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like they're trying to go, well, let's just slap International on it and try and sell a completely new series. And I don't think it's going to go anywhere further than 6 issues.
Well, I just don't know what the...
Unless it goes the Viva Las Vegas route and only has 2.
Yeah. I just don't know what the pitch for this is with the first issue. Again, I love Alex Maleev.
Iron Man Lost is the pitch.
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
No,
is every
I
issue...
wish it was, but I don't think it is. Dude, this is a fucking, Jason Aaron was very clear with Thor. This is going to be... There's going to be 3 threads here.
Yeah.
Current, modern, and
future.
Past, modern, and future. That is, as far as I've understood, that is not the case with this in terms of their transparency of the direction.
It's just the one issue.
And so it's just the one issue. So I would imagine that it's, much more freeform, much more up to the writer's fucking whim.
Yeah.
I can't imagine them taking Jason Aaron off Thor when he was in the middle of that arc. Maybe this is, to sort of guard against that. He's in the middle of a flashback story. Why would they take him off in the middle of this story without just cannibalizing sales?
Did anyone say they were taking him off the book?
No. But I mean, like they can't now.
Well, sure, but I'm curious. What is the pitch for the second Iron Man book? Because the first Iron Man book that he's doing is good. It's fine. It's not the best book ever. It's not terrible. It's part of Civil War, so
it
it's
is
strong.
weird that they pitched it. They didn't pitch it as. I mean, on the cover, it's full-grown Iron Man.
Yeah.
And the whole story is about young Iron Man.
Yeah.
So if the whole story is
not
about,
even Iron Man, right? Just Tony Stark. So.
Right. Sorry. Well, yes. Right. So it is going to be interesting if it stays young Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Why are they even have full-grown Iron Man on the cover of every issue? I don't know, but I loved this issue. This is great. It was not an Iron Man story.
Yeah, sure.
It was a young Tony Stark story, but you can't sell it otherwise, or at least at volume. Anyway, Great art. Great. Let me rephrase that. Very good art. Good art. Great story. I loved the story. I thought it was a great story.
So out of the bunch, this was my second to last beside Hyperion that I didn't want to read because I didn't think it was going to be any good. But I actually really, really enjoyed this book. The whole flashback of introducing Cassie made me instantly care for her showing up at the end. So I'm hoping this book actually sticks with the flashback routine because it kind of makes it a different book from the other Iron Man book.
Yep.
So... yeah, I'm actually... the other Iron Man book surprised me, too. So both of these Bendis Iron Mans, I'm actually really, really curious about now. So I'm definitely going to check out the next one.
I think this is a stronger first issue than the first issue of the other series.
Yeah.
They both
Really?
had sort of that one, like...
Including the reveal of the first series?
Both have, like, the state thing going on in the first issue.
Yeah.
The reveal was primarily the only thing really going on for me in the first
Yeah,
one.
but I thought that sort of, like,
The reveal's-
flips everything else.
The reveal's bigger,
was
but
it
this
not?
issue's more cohesive.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
And I think it's a really, really well done first issue, too. Even though, I mean, you have to be already invested in Iron Man. Like, it's, you know, you're probably more... I'm more invested in Cassie at this point than Iron Man, but I'm in for this book for a little bit, at least.
Is that because her name is Cassie?
That's a magic name.
No, I like both of the Iron Man books. The only problem I have with them is, like, when I picked up this book and I looked at the cover, I knew nothing about the pitch, nothing other than...
Yeah, hence why it went down in the pile for me. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, me too.
Yeah.
And this
And
might be...
because of everything going on in the main Iron Man book with Mary Jane and everything else, looking at this cover, I'm like, okay, so that's probably Mary Jane on the left.
I was thinking that, too.
Right. Dude, so, again, expectation management. I also was like, are you fucking kidding? Like, wasn't it 6 months ago we got the other Iron Man #1? Like, why? International? What the fuck? What does this even mean? I was, my expectations were super low, and then I read it. So this might be a case where my expectations were just so low that I was like, oh, this was actually really good. I don't know, but maybe I liked it more than I would have normally.
And I don't mind reading Young Tony, actually. I think it could be really cool.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, I think this could be a really cool book if they're sticking with this. I mean, if they're going back to the current time and that's all it is, then yeah.
Has #2 come out yet?
If it goes back to the current
I think it's this
time,
week.
my concern kind of gets into the...
Then it's just not an Iron Man book.
Well, but what I mean by that is... So... going back to the all-new X-Men versus the Uncanny X-Men, they both had a very singular aspect to the book, so they were not easy to confuse each other.
Yeah,
Kind of
True.
thing. The cover of this book and stuff, like literally when I first grabbed it off the shelf,
was misleading.
my brain thought it was the next issue of Iron Man.
Yeah, but now
Like-
would you have picked it up if this was like a
have a
long hair,
small
little shaggy
brain.
Tony on the cover?
Yes, I do. No, but my point is, well, either way, I would have picked it up to read. It's
Well, yeah,
it's not really a question there. It's just, in general, I can already tell there's going to be a point where I'm like grabbing the book, going like, no, what happened in the last issue of Iron Man? And then,
Well, if you're reading it here, then you'll just go grab the copy and...
well, no, but
it
it's just
burnery.
with two stories going on, as long as one of them stays young Tony, one of them staying older Tony, especially both written by Bendis, I need there to be a good clear divide, or I'm just going to get confused between the two books.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I really like this story. This was I know everybody's dying for the Bryce Byron to pass, aka nobody. But I would say buy. Boom.
We got two more books to cover here before
Buy
Daredevil
from
talk.
Ryan's online store.
Let's get through this. Next one is Mockingbird #1 by Chelsea Kane and Kate Nimsick. Let me read something to you real quick before we talk about this
you're
issue.
hating on this book, huh? I can already tell. If Ryan doesn't, let me read something for you here.
So this is from the very last page. This is the writer kind of having a minute to talk about the book. This is the opening paragraph. You might have some questions, because, what the heck? None of that made any sense at all, or did it? Do black holes make sense? Do cats make sense? Does Joan Crawford make sense?
Do cats
Joan
make sense?
Crawford.
That's what I said.
Hey, Joan Crawford.
No, but these things are still awesome. That pretty much sums up Mockingbird #1, except for the awesome part. This book was just really annoying. I don't know any other way to put it. It's this weird story of Mockingbird over the course of a few weeks in various different costumes, getting tested at S.H.I.E.L.D., and getting and becoming even more angry or something as the issues go on, or not angry, being more like paranoid as the issues go on, and then the very last page, find out she's being attacked by like old white zombies or something.
But that's in her head.
What?
That's in her head.
Who cares? What the hell is wrong with this book?
Dude, perfect example of Higgins' fucking hypocritical bias towards DC. If this had been a DC book, Higgins would be like, man, this is the best DC book ever. Look, this book is by no means perfect, but it is a very good book. This is a solid rent book on the Bryce scale, which I know you're all waiting for.
What is interesting in this book? It's a weird, nothing story.
reminds me a lot to be
If you
fun.
listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth, Ryan. So what Marvel has done a great job, and way better, by the way, not sarcastically, than DC has been doing, is been giving the female stories to female creative teams. And
I'm fine with that.
right? Yeah, I'm not saying you're not. And I don't know if we're getting to Black Panther tonight.
No.
Oh well, let me. Spoiler alert! It's to a creative team suited for Black Panther in a demographic capacity, and in this case, it's a much lighter tone, which you're probably not. I don't know, familiar with, comfortable with.
Do you remember my 2015 Marvel Book of the Year?
No, yes, I do, but like that was ironically because you're a fucking hipster.
Squirrel Girl's fantastic.
Yeah.
This is just dumb.
Anyway, that's wrong. So, so this is a much.
I got nothing out of it.
So this is a much lighter tone. Look, this book does a number
not
of
really.
This book does. If you'll
It's not
listen
really
to the
a
words that are
light-
coming out of my mouth, this
it's
book
not
does
really
a number
a light
of
tone.
great things. So it simultaneously addresses the Marvel S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, right? Because they're trying to shoehorn
that gem.
Mockingbird. Thank you, Charlie. Charlie's nodding in the background.
That's
Charlie.
my thing about this book is they're trying to take the version of Mockingbird that exists in S.H.I.E.L.D.
It's nothing
and-
like Mockingbird from S.H.I.E.L.D.
Charlie agrees
No,
with
it is.
everything
No.
that I
It is.
say.
It is.
As
No.
long as it's
It totally
positive.
is.
If I say anything negative,
This is
Charlie
nothing
doesn't
like the
agree with me.
Mockingbird that was in the books before.
Thank
this
you,
is
Toby.
more like the one from
and
the
by
TV
the way,
show.
Toby's like the biggest Mockingbird fan at this table. Anyway, so
Probably.
first
I
of
missed
all,
the episode where she was wearing like spiky high heels and like
That
spiked
has
leather
nothing
she's
to
a
do
jacket.
fucking
with it.
undercover agent. What
Yeah.
the fuck?
No.
Dude.
No, I'm trying to show him.
This has nothing to do with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. character.
No,
Yes,
he's-
it does. This
he's-
totally reads
No,
like Adrian Palicki.
He's talking about the TV show. You can't show him the comic book. He's complaining about the comic book.
No, he asked where the spiky shit came from. Instead of
I meant on the TV show.
That's
Yeah.
what I just said.
Anyway, I'm glad you guys liked the book. I thought this thing was
Anyway, so and it's
Well,
also,
I didn't say I
thank you,
liked it.
Charlie.
I just
Also-
said it's.
It's also amalgamating with Bendis' Mighty Avengers, where she ingests some of the Infinity Formula to survive. Do you guys?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So it's segueing into all these different storylines where she has some of the Nick Fury Infinity Formula, so she's like going crazy, which is why she needs to see a psych therapist. She's also like part of the S.H.I.E.L.D. TV series, so she's like part of S.H.I.E.L.D. So she's trying to amalgamate all these different parts of like the real life TV universe with the S.H.I.E.L.D. Bendis fucking universe with like, I just want to sell books for Marvel Studios or Marvel proper universe. She's offering to...
If you give this book to a viewer of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. only, they would not be able to tell you what character that is.
Okay, well, I'll do you one better, you douchebag.
Well, do you tell them it's Mockingbird?
No.
At all?
No, if you remove the word Mockingbird
makes
from this
it a little
book,
hard, I'll give you
if
that,
you remove
but-
the word Bobby Morse or Mockingbird from this book, they would not tell you. They would not be able to
because
tell you
there's
who's
no-
the character.
The
There's
fucking
no other
argument
characters
is the
in here,
fucking
though.
most bullshit argument ever. If you erase everything that they would be interested in
If
ever,
you
would they
take-
be interested in it?
If
What the
you
fuck?
take someone who has only seen Batman v Superman and give them a comic book with Batman in it, but take out the words Batman and Bruce Wayne from it,
Dude,
they could tell you
fucking
that's
stop
Batman.
Talking. You're comparing Mockingbird to Batman.
I'm
Are
just
you
saying,
fucking
you
kidding?
said this is for fans of the TV show. There is nothing identifiable in this as Mockingbird from Agents of
Dude,
S.H.I.E.L.D.
you are wildly wrong about comparing, like, fans of the fucking... I'm doing air quotes for the audio listeners. Like, fans of the TV show of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Bobby Morse and Mockingbird to fucking Batman. Are you fucking... what the fuck? That's your basis for argument?
How about Green Lantern? Sure. Or how about Jonah
Sure.
Hex?
How about either of those? Like, put this comic book in either of their hands. This is targeted for a different audience, right? This is targeted for, if I had to guess, a female audience. It's by a female creative team about a female. Maybe it's targeted for a female audience. You put this like in the hands of a female audience. This is a great read. The art is great. The fucking story is totally...
Now I know you're just fucking sucking Marvel's cock. The art is abysmal.
What?
Dude,
The art is
No, it's not.
abysmal.
What are you talking about?
It's real
What are you talking about?
Arts are
I'll
real-
take this art on
This
any
is
book right now.
Bryce,
Wait.
you
Can
hate this.
Can you pass this down? Show me a single bad picture.
You hate this art.
You know what was worse?
No, I really
were
do
some
not.
of Assad Ribic's
I
fucking
really do
panels
not.
in Secret
I really
Wars.
do not.
Show me a worse panel than some of Assad Ribic's
I
panels
really
in
don't-
Secret Warriors.
Every-
This is
Secret
actually
Wars.
my second nicest
I'm
art in this
not
entire
joking.
pile.
Every picture of Hercules is the worst.
It's because he's beat up.
Dude, I wish that the fucking audio listeners could see this. I'm about to pick up fucking any issue of Squirrel Girl and compare it to any page on this, and Higgins is fucking defending Squirrel Girl as his book of the year.
It's a great book.
Dude, I'm not even gonna go pick up. I could literally pick up any book on the wall and compare it to this,
I would
and the
never
art
in a
here
million years-
is 10 times better. You saying the second Marvel's cock? Like, what the fuck?
I would never in-
Squirrel Girl's art versus this?
I would
You're
never in a
fucking bananas,
million
bro.
years
what the
think-
fuck are you talking about?
I would never in a million years think any of you guys would like the art in this book. This seems so
Dude, what the-
unlike
I really like
anything you
this.
would like.
Dude, what the fuck? You know who we need to weigh in is Charlie.
I'm like
Charlie,
tearing down books from the wall just trying to show you all the bad art.
Charlie likes everything.
You two shut up. Charlie and
Why
Brock.
don't we have
Let's-
Charlie weigh
Hey,
in?
I didn't get my turn yet.
Talking
After
about
Charlie
second
and
cock,
Brock.
Brock is
heard
going to
enough.
agree with you.
No,
Let's have Charlie's,
I didn't get
Charlie's
enough.
opinion. Can we get Charlie's opinion?
I read all the books. I get my time.
Dude, you're fucking so wrong.
Let's
dude.
hurry up and finish this so we can move on to Daredevil. Charlie, what do you think of Mockingbird?
So, art aside, because honestly,
Dude,
the
look
art
at this
didn't
art!
stand out to me one way or another.
Dude, are you fucking kidding? Look at this art. Look at this art. Do you think that is better than that picture of fucking Mockingbird in the waiting room?
It's not worse.
I'm gonna go back to
Are you
opening Hearthstone
fucking
packs.
kidding? You think that this is no worse?
Go sit down, please.
Whispers of the Old Gods is I'm just gonna start opening packs. This is
Charlie, continue, please. Thank you.
Dude.
So, recently they went through all the trouble of setting up to do a spin-off for Mockingbird of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So it didn't surprise me they put out this book. And it doesn't surprise me that they tried to put out a book where the character is a closer approximation to the character that exists in the show.
Thank you.
But it doesn't really work for me trying to shoehorn the representation that exists in the show into the normal Marvel universe. Like if this was the show universe, like when you get into on the DC side, like the Arrow comics that are based on the Arrow show, if this was we're doing a Mockingbird comic based on the S.H.I.E.L.D. show universe with the movies and everything else, I probably would have a higher opinion of this book. But because it's Marvel proper, as it were, it just didn't work for me.
Brock.
Which is,
What
by
do you-
the
what
way,
do you
for
think?
the audio-only listeners, the biggest FU Charlie will ever...
Turn your mic back on.
Oh, did I turn off the LU?
I
Yeah,
shut it off
apparently.
a long time ago.
Oh, well, it's probably best.
Brock, let us know what you think of Mockingbird.
I actually picked up this book interested in seeing kind of a spy chick
Yeah.
kicking ass and all that stuff. and the book just.
Well, the cover is a little misleading with that.
Well, the thing is like I can understand a book showing you a lot of stuff,
Yep.
Which the book tries to do, but in the middle of all this, they're trying to say, "Oh, she's crazy," but because she's seeing things and she's mad and she's getting all this stuff, but you don't have any kind of start to why this is taking place. Now, if you've seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you may or may not have a place to go off of. Or
I don't think it has anything to do with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Or if you've read Mockingbird prior stuff, you might have something to go off of. If you've never
has nothing
touched,
to do with the previous Mockingbird.
If you've never touched, but if you've never touched a Mockingbird comic, you won't know who the fuck this is.
Yeah, I think it does a bad job of introducing the character.
And you go into this, and the art is what the art is. I think it fits the book, but the book doesn't even know what it fucking wants.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not saying it's that fill-in artist on She-Hulk bad, but it's nothing will be that bad.
But for me, it's like I'm sitting here looking at this, and this is the problem I had with Hickman's Fantastic Four was that you got this great kind of story, and then it's like, oh, I'm going to tell you in little, like just a page of what happened later, and you're like, but I was enjoying everything.
Oh, I remember that.
There's a lot of stuff in here that I'm like, that looks like it's pretty interesting. I want to see those stories, but they don't really.
She's just right back to that.
But it's right back to we're dealing with ping pong balls and taking your blood and that you're crazy. And honestly, if you go to read issue 2, it gets even fucking worse.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't. It tries to ground itself in that issue.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work because you've come from somewhere that you're like, I don't even know what the fuck I just read.
Toby.
All right. Is it the best book ever? No. Is it the worst book ever? No. I thoroughly enjoyed it because Ryan was shit fucking this book since the beginning, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be horrible. And I read it, I'm like, I kind of dug it. You did. I picked up issue 2. I'm like, I made the comment like, hey, look, she looks like Black Canary, and you goes, it's some shit fuck book. In those words, almost.
I've never said those words.
Shit fucking.
Yeah.
Higgins the shit fucking.
Yeah, he likes the shit fuck. No, I'm kidding. No, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It's not a great first issue, no. It's a lighter book for me, and I kind of like those kind of books. It reminds me of the old She-Hulk books, where it's kind of more fun.
Yeah.
And that's why I like this one. It does kind of almanac all the different Mockingbirds to me, which is fine to me, because I think that's where they're heading anyways. And I thoroughly enjoyed the art. Is it the best art ever? No, but I really, really dug the art. It's very Aaron Lopresti-ish.
I can see that.
It's very Aaron Lopresti-ish. So I quite dug this book. So I am going to check out number 2 on this. Okay. Thank you very much. Last book.
So finally, to get Bryce back on my good side, Old Man Logan #1 by Jeff Lemire and Andres Sorrentino.
Dude, how far behind are we? We're doing Old Man Logan #1?
Yeah.
All right.
This probably is the oldest of the #1s that we haven't covered yet. No surprise if you read the Secret Wars series, this picks up very much where it leaves off. Logan is dropped on Earth, and now he's trying to...
Now he became Arrow from Season 1.
This is flashbacks?
No, it's Arrow from Season 1.
He's got his list? Yeah. He's got his kill list.
And he gets his little Batman shot out, too.
I like how he's like, all right, my kill list. The Butcher... Hulk, Mysterio, and Red Skull.
Yeah.
Who should we try to take out first?
Right. He does the first one in issue 1, and then it's like, okay, this will be a long series.
Yeah. It was fantastic. Old Man Logan #1 is fantastic. If you like the Secret Wars book, you like this. Andres Sorrentino continues to be one of the best artists in the industry, and Jeff Lemire, I feel, has been a bit wasted as Marvel. His work has not been as solid at Marvel. Sorry, his work has not been as solid as at DC. Here we go. Bryce just giving me a look at the eyes. But that said,
What? No, I agree with you.
This was a very solid issue. Really good. I generally don't care much for Wolverine.
Or Marvel.
And I definitely hate Old Man Logan. The original stuff. But this was a great issue. So
you hated Old Man Logan? I know you hate Mark Miller, but
I think I read like the first 2 issues, and I think when
I really liked it until the very end, and I was like, "Oh, this is too weird."
I think
for
when
me.
the incestual Hulk, that's hillbilly family came in,
that's too weird to me.
Have you tried to read it trying to separate your hate from Mark Miller? Because it's actually a really good story.
No. The story was really good.
Wait, no, it's not a really good story? No, you haven't tried to read it to try to separate your
I think I read the first issue or 2 and went, I have no interest.
It was a really good book. I just, the whole thing scared me off. Like, doesn't make me want to reread it.
I see what you're saying, but like, all right, fair play.
No, but this is really good.
Yes, this is a fucking like. This is. I think that I said the last time I was on the podcast. This is like I'm looking at the wall right now. Like a top 5 from Marvel. I'm trying to think of a. I don't know. There's so many good Marvel books that I'm having a tough time.
It's definitely on the top of the list. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to say every X-Men book, including Old Man Logan, is in the top 5. And then I'm just.
How about we continue talking about this book real quick so we can wrap up? So we talk about Daredevil.
I guess what you're asking me to say more. So I have nothing more to say. It's just an incredible book. I love the list. Like it's hilarious. Like he takes care of Butcher in the first. And then it's like, okay, Red Skull, yeah, I'm sure that'll be no problem. Hulk, I'm sure that'll be no problem, which he gets to in like issue 3, and we see how that goes. And for those of you that have been like kept on reading Old Man Logan, it's awesome because he's like, all right, well, I better take care of the Hulk. And he goes to the Hulk, and the Hulk is no longer the Hulk that he knows. And he's like, what the fuck? He's like, well, I better get my friend Hawkeye. And he goes to Hawkeye's place, and it's like, Hawkeye is no longer Hawkeye. And he's like, wait a minute, what the fuck? Like Hawkeye's no longer Hawkeye either. Like what?
This is like how the real how this like comic audience feels about Marvel right now. They're like
exactly right. Like if Ryan Higgins was to come back from the past and he was like, I hate everything Marvel. I better go to every Marvel hero or villain to complain. I'm gonna go first complain to Hawkeye. Oh, Hawkeye's different. Okay, well that's weird. Well, I'm gonna go complain to the Hulk. Oh, well the Hulk is different.
No,
if only the Legion of Superheroes could help me. Oh, they're all different.
God damn it, Spider-Man's different too?
Yeah.
No, it's entirely a good analogy for anybody who's been out of comics for like the past 10 years. It would be the exact same kind of thing. You drop right in there and there's a lot that's different right now. And that's one of the really good things about this book is as he's exploring, it's like, I don't remember this. And especially, are you fully caught up?
No, I've only read through issue 3. If you're going to drop some,
I really like where they've gone with that book.
Do they keep the same thread? Because by the way, like there's a big Cap shield on issue 4, and like obviously Cap is different. I'm surprised that they didn't blow their load with Wolverine. Obviously Wolverine is different. Like so many of the heroes, like Thor is different. Like fucking so many heroes are different now, and that's like. You know, we're all sort of sitting in the background being like, oh, yeah, that's cool, or that's annoying, or that's fun, or that's bad. Like, but meanwhile, Old Man Logan comes around, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? I love this, dude. I mean, it's like, it's not ingenious or brilliant or even new. It's just the way they've been doing it. Like, I'm fucking, like, on the Bendis hate train now, but, oh, I'm sorry, this is Lemire now, but still, like, Bendis did the I don't want to say Age of Apocalypse. It was wannabe Age of Apocalypse. What was it even fucking
House
called?
of M?
Nope. The one that just happened. I'm sorry. I'm totally brain farting. Secret Wars. Sorry. Thank you and goodbye.
So, Brock, what do you think of this comic?
Oh, I think Old Man Logan's, it's great. I enjoyed the Secret Wars series, and I was really curious to see how this one panned out. The Lemire and Sorrentino team is fantastic. Like, you put them on a title, it's most likely going to be top notch. I mean, if honestly, Bryce, if you like Old Man Logan, you should go back and read the Green Arrow stuff.
Yeah,
because it is
what Green Arrow stuff. The Green Arrow stuff that I bought and loved.
The Jeff Lemire stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
When it rebooted to be more like Arrow.
Yeah.
I fucking bought it and loved it. You should fucking know that. I bought it in your store.
I didn't realize you bought any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you stopped getting it after it was over, so it's been a while. You forgot.
That's what she said.
Yeah. No, I mean it's definitely a good kind of, like everybody said. It's if you're just getting back into comics, this is the book you should be reading because he feels exactly the same way you do.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, great.
That's a
stuff.
great point, dude. Some of the greatest shit is when like Andreas. How do you say his first name?
Andrea.
When Sorrentino draws Old Man Logan as like in a what the fuck moment because he's trying to understand what is going on with the current Marvel universe, and he's just like, dude, I got nothing for you. What the fuck is going on? I don't understand.
Well, they address all this stuff in the Ultimates comic. I don't know if you're caught up on that or reading that.
I read issue number 1, and by the way, that got in between a buy and a rent from me.
Ultimates is fantastic.
Yeah, I love
best
Ultimates.
Yes.
In the recent issues, they've addressed times kind of the past and the present and the future are always constantly changing.
If I'm being totally fair to Ultimates, I would probably give it a buy plus. But I had so much bias going into
Flip
Ultimates.
through the beginning of that book.
Yeah.
Dude, this is issue number 5.
That's fine. Flip through the beginning of number 5.
So, Old Man Logan.
Spoiler! Oh god, spoilers! So many spoilers. Dude, I want to read the trade or something. Dude, I read issue number 1. I loved it, but I gave it too much Ultimates bias, so I just...
Well, it has nothing to do with Ultimates.
Yeah.
And dude, again, I fucking should be a university professor. What could go wrong about managed expectations? I was like, oh, I'm sure this is going to be a fucking F- book for Ultimates number 1.
Yeah, sure.
But I actually liked
No,
it, and I was
great.
like, well, there must be something wrong with me because I actually liked this book. And then I didn't, because I got it fucking every single number 1 and didn't get all the number 2s. But I was like, I mean, that was the one just budget-wise. I was like, yeah, I'm just not going to get number 2. But if you're saying,
Well, Toby, speaking of number 1s, what did you think of Old Man Logan number 1?
So, out of the bunch you gave me to read, I may have enjoyed some of the other books more, but I do think this is by far the best book out of the whole bunch.
Yeah.
I thoroughly like the idea of plotting Old Man Logan. I mean, when I found out they're going to put him into the regular universe, this is the best way to do it. You get the background from the original story. He has his little, mission to go to, and everything is different. I mean, when the reveal was he's doing his list at the end, I was like, wait a minute. The banner or the Hulk he's looking for is not the Hulk that is, right? And I was like, I don't even think Red Skull is around anymore, is he? He's not, right? It's his daughter?
Has Red Skull even shown up post Secret Wars?
Nope, not at all.
The last thing Red Skull was in was the...
It was the Uncanny Avengers stuff, right?
Well, anyways.
It was it was the Uncanny Avengers stuff, but it was what was that big X-Men thing that was 8
Axis?
books? Axis.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought that was a brilliant start of a story with a fresh feel for Wolverine and a mission for him, and plenty of story to do here. I mean, everything is different than what he thinks it is, so there's a ton of story to be done here. So I really dug it.
Well,
and the art is fantastic.
Let
me finish. Thank you very much. I'm done.
Weren't you the one that didn't like Andrea Sorrentino's stuff in Green Arrow?
No, I don't think so because I haven't read it yet.
No human being does not like
I didn't like... I honestly, I really did enjoy reading Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
The whole Hulk thing really threw me off. If it was a different character that I could just thoroughly hate, that would have been fine. Like, if it was the Abomination making, babies with, female Abomination, that would have been totally cool. Right? But the fact that...
It could be A-bomb. It's legal.
Yeah, but the fact that Hulk went freaking crazy and made little Hulk children with She-Hulk was, a little too weird for me, and that turned me off because I really like She-Hulk and the Hulk. So that was just... Yeah, so that turned me off. But the story itself, I thought it was really good. It was a well-done book. I didn't really like little villain Spider-Girl. That was kind of weird to me, too.
Yeah.
And some of the characters were a little more vicious. But other than that, that story is fantastic. I'm a little worried about how Fox is going to adapt its story without the rights to any of the characters that are in that book.
They did a great job.
Yeah, let's have an Old Man Logan story without Spider-Man, without Wolverine. I'm sorry, without Hawkeye, without Hulk.
Oh, dude, are you guys being sarcastic?
No,
they'll be able to adapt other angry
It'll be Abomination, I'm sure.
Did you see the new trailer for Apocalypse?
I did not. So I got home from work last
it can be
night,
Abomination.
and my wife
It's
was
the
like, my 3-year-old son, fucking kid, was like, I get you, Daddy. I get you Wolverine, and he did a fake fist,
That's
claws
awesome.
coming out, and I was like, that would be adorable. Except that my fucking beautiful, loving wife was like, oh, somebody must have just seen the X-Men trailer, and I was like, what is that? What are you talking about? Why would you even say that? You know how I hate that. Anyway, so I don't know that Wolverine shows up in the latest trailer for X-Men, but
His arm does.
I have
And his claws do.
I haven't seen it, so I have no idea.
Well,
I'm with you, Bryce.
if Bryce didn't know, he definitely knows now.
Yeah,
Thanks, Brock.
Was
What?
Wolverine
You're-
not supposed to be in it or something?
No. They did a cameo in the trailer.
Anyway, speaking of trailers,
I'm pretty excited for that now.
what I'm going to say has nothing to do with trailers. We're going to talk about Daredevil season 2 on Netflix. Full spoilers.
I wanted to say one more thing about Old Man
What's
Logan.
up?
I wanted to say one more thing about Old Man
Yeah, what's
Logan. Lemire
It
does
better be worth it, because I'm going to smack you in the face if it's a dumb joke.
No, Lemire does a great job establishing Old Man Logan's future. like with his family, the stuff that we didn't get to see in the original Old Man Logan.
Yeah,
technically in the book.
Yeah,
it was like
it's like more like a flash
4 pages.
forward.
Yeah.
No, it's a flashback because that's to him that happened.
his
already.
flashback.
Yeah, his flashback.
Yeah.
Or is it?
Tom, tom, tom.
But really, really good stuff, and that continues throughout the issues, and it's really nice to see kind of that. It rounds out that whole world a lot.
Yeah. Daredevil season 2, Netflix. Brock has not seen the end,
I have not seen.
Can I just say,
but that's fine.
this is what Higgins is going to say, just so that I can get it out of the way, so that fucking Higgins doesn't say it. I never thought I would be more excited about Foggy Nelson in the courtroom than Daredevil fighting the Hand.
The Punisher is great, and Elektra sucks.
Daredevil fights the
Done.
Hand, and I'm more excited about Foggy Nelson in the courtroom. Oh my god, I'm Ryan Higgins.
Someone listen to the Geekbox.
No, you told me this in person, bro. It's the fucking most boring review ever.
Cool. Okay. What'd you guys think of season 2?
Loved it. It was incredible. It was awesome. It was so good.
Okay.
It was almost as good as season 1, but very different. Let's be real. Very different. There was a lot more, I guess, Matt Murdock love in season 1 than season 2. I will... Actually, no. I will not agree with you to the point that fucking Elektra, so much missed potential in my fanboy shipper opinion. As a big Daredevil Elektra shipper. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Why is that funny? I don't know. Maybe
Am I saying that right?
Well, I might not be getting it right. I don't know. I want them to hook up, and they do in the comics. Anyway, fucking great season. Not as good as the first. There was more good fight scenes in the first season, although there was great fight scenes in the second season. Punisher, head and shoulders,
Highlight.
it almost makes the second season better by himself than the second season.
Yes.
Elektra, though, there's a lot of hate from Higgins about the Elektra. I fucking loved Elektra.
Yes.
Did I love Elektra more than the first season? Oh, man, that's a fucking tough one, man. I'm going to have to come back to you on that one. But Elektra was fucking great. She was, sexy and sophisticated and in a fucking, an actual badass, unlike Alias Season 1, motherfuckers.
Alias was pretty good.
I knew that. I shouldn't have said that out loud.
Yeah.
Charlie. Yeah. So, anyway. And you guys also love Buffy. So...
Yes. What's wrong with Buffy?
No, I didn't say anything was wrong with Buffy. I'm saying that it's hard to do... Look, ladies kicking ass, I love. It's just tough for me watching
Well, this girl
shows.
actually know how to kick ass. She's a black belt.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's tough for me watching these shows to see these ladies that weigh about 100 pounds beating up dudes that are 200 pounds. That is just a fundamental problem for me because of physics.
So a fat man like me should just lay on top of him and I'd be done.
Dude, I definitely am not even sure that you would outweigh Elektra. You're not a big dude. Is that your argument? Is that you're a big dude?
Yeah, I'm a little chub around the belly, I guess.
Wow. Maybe one of us, if it's only you, can agree on that. Anyway, so Elektra was a great addition. Not as good as the Punisher. Punisher was a fucking incredible addition. They were both great additions. The whole season was incredible. Not as good as the first season, but only barely, in my opinion. This show fucking...
Although, if you had to rewatch, would you rewatch season 1 or 2? If you only could rewatch one of them.
I would rewatch season 2. No fucking question.
Me too.
That's not a fair question.
It is very fair. Why not?
In your unfair questioning world, that's my answer.
Okay.
Well, let me rank the Marvel TV shows as we have them so far.
Yeah.
Well, we only have 3 in Netflix.
It's Arrow 1, Arrow 2, Arrow 3.
No, he said Marvel.
Flash 1,
He said Marvel.
Flash
He
2.
said Marvel.
No, I know, but I know how
Arrow
it works.
season 2 is easily the best. So
He would fucking rank all DC.
What, do you include S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No, of the Netflix shows.
Okay.
Oh, you're gonna rank the Netflix shows? You mean all
Will you
only 4.
let me
There's only
say
4.
what I'm gonna
the words
say?
that are coming out of your mouth? Please.
The Punisher elements of Daredevil season 2, by far, the best.
Wait,
No question asked.
So your ranking list is gonna break down
parts.
between shows?
And then Jessica Jones.
What?
Then Daredevil season 1, and then the Elektra stuff from Daredevil season 2.
And then season 1
Yes.
of Daredevil? Where is
third.
that in your order?
Third. Yeah, so the Punisher stuff of season 2, then Jessica Jones, then Daredevil season 1, and then the Elektra stuff from season 2. I don't hate the Elektra stuff. It wasn't like unwatchable.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to
you
say
basically said that.
I just don't understand why people love Jessica Jones so much.
Jessica Jones is great. Well, let me talk about Punisher first. Punisher was by far the best.
So good.
Possibly the best in not only the TV shows but the movies.
Yes, they need to fucking make a shot at him.
But
This is the best Punisher, I think.
It's not only
that's not what I'm disagreeing
It's
with.
not even. It's not only the best
Well, what
Punisher.
do you
better than anything in the movies, and I disagree with that.
Oh, is that what you were saying?
I mean,
Are you saying
characterization
just
wise,
Punishers in the movies, or better than Marvel movies?
characterization wise, the Punisher is as perfect as I think you could get any character. I'm not even the biggest
No,
Punisher
actually,
fan.
I think you're right. I go with that.
The Punisher stuff is so well done.
Yes.
Maybe because the Punisher stuff is so well done, it makes the Elektra stuff to me look poor. But
Well, it's really funny that it took this long for them to get Punisher right.
Yeah.
He's like the easiest fucking character for them to do right. And they kept fucking him in the ass.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Dude. I thought Thomas Jane
Yeah.
did a fucking great job.
He did a great job in Dirty Laundry.
I don't know.
John
But not
Bernthal-
necessarily, and I don't think it's his fault in the movie. I really don't think it's his fault.
I don't know. What's
and I
happening,
think that's
but
why.
I love Thomas Jane as the Punisher.
So your joke earlier is actually accurate. I was much more intrigued by Foggy Nelson and the Punisher in
it wasn't
court.
a joke. You told me that.
I know.
Not on the Geekbox podcast, but you told me that in real life earlier.
So I don't hate Elektra. I just feel
You just don't like Asian people. That's why you treat me like the way you do.
This take on Elektra,
Typical Higgins.
I don't buy into. She's a
Wait.
she's a spoiled, entitled, ditzy socialite.
No. I had you at spoiled and entitled.
Wait,
but
where is the ditzy?
Full stop. What
Yeah.
the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
She's
spoiled and
Where
entitled.
was she
Totally
ditzy?
accurate. Totally
Where
accurate.
was she ditzy in the whole show?
Dude, ditzy? What the
Yeah,
fuck?
she's very I don't know what's going on. Like she's trying to fight. She's fighting with stick, and she's a bad fighter. Like she's losing constantly.
I do have to say
Also
that.
wrong.
No, I do feel like Elektra should have been more badass with the fighting. She did get
What
beat
badass
up.
with the...
Yeah,
She did get beat. She got
really
beat a
bad.
few times. It's like she needed Daredevil to fight with her, and to me,
Yeah.
Elektra never needed Daredevil to fight with her.
No,
this
you're
is-
both wrong.
No, they
Objectively,
play her-
Europeans are wrong.
That. I agree with
They
that.
play her
no.
way more. What's the word I'm looking for? They
You're
play her
wrong.
way more.
I'm
Realistic.
wrong. It's 2 words, not one.
I mean, to me, they just made it more realistic, right? She is smaller in size, therefore she gets beaten down a few times.
guess.
In my mind, Elektra would have just been more badass than that.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I feel like this is a not the version of Elektra that I care for, but it's origin story. It's early
So
or whatever.
did you like
that's fine, that's
Jennifer
fine.
Garner more? I'm sorry.
But
Keep
my
going.
my issue with this is I feel like now someone said, I think it was on the Geekbox last night we were talking about this, that if this has been mentioned publicly, I have no idea. I've not heard this, but all this Black Sky stuff and her death and
Wait, are you
It
about to
was
spoil
kind of
something?
confusing.
this is all spoilers. Yeah,
I thought it was kind of confusing.
This is all apparently lead into the Defenders TV show.
Really?
Like, if they've mentioned this publicly, I've never heard this. I have no idea if it's just
Wait,
someone
am I only
guessing
halfway
it.
through the podcast? I didn't hear this. I listened to at least half the podcast.
I think we talk about it at the end. But yeah. So if this was meant to Charlie, I mean, have you heard?
Charlie
this?
likes everything though.
Yes.
No, I was just
No, I'm
going to
asking if
say
you heard this.
they seemed to indicate that when they made the announcement that the showrunner of Daredevil was going to be the showrunner of Defenders.
Well, that I knew.
Maybe that's what people are thinking, that this whole hand invasion of New York is going to play out in Defenders.
That was really
That'd be
fucking
kinda
weak,
cool, though.
Was that if I have I fucking love this show. I only have one criticism about this show.
No, I really liked season 2.
And that was that Stick spent the whole fucking stop calling me, dude.
A war is coming. A war is coming.
Hey, no,
A war
okay.
is
How do I-
coming.
Now,
message-
is Stick that of an asshole in the books? Because I never read him that way. Did I just read him the wrong way? I always thought he was Splinter.
Anyway, as
Not
I was
only
saying,
that, but he's not in. I mean, he's dead. He's not in.
Yeah, but of
So
the
it's-
few books I've read with Stick in it, I
Yeah.
didn't feel like he was the complete dick asshole he is. And they made him up to be like a really selfish kind
Yeah.
of... In a way, he's teaching them, but in the ways he's not. He's also using them. So
Yeah, I don't-
is that how he was in the books? Because I didn't read him that way.
Not that I remember. I mean, it's been
Yeah.
a long time since I read
yes. I agree
since
with
I read
that.
the Miller
point
stuff.
is that I was fucking as a big Marvel cocksucker, as Ryan likes to say. Like, everything that they did about the season was fucking great, but, like, how fucking annoying is it when Stick is like... And Elektra, too, to a certain extent, is just like, I'm part of this organization in this war, and, there's this big mystery. You just wouldn't understand.
Yeah, they're not really explaining it, right?
Well, tell me about it. We literally have as many episodes as Netflix wants to fund. We don't have time.
No,
Wait, what?
Because
no, we actually have time. There's more time until the next season. Nothing is happening right now. Goodbye, Matthew.
Yeah, and that's the weird part. That the Punisher stuff, I feel, was so cohesive and so well done. The Elektra stuff feels like a completely different show. It was really... Like I said, I didn't hate the Elektra stuff. It just was not, to me, her storyline was not to the quality of the Punisher.
The Punisher stuff was
Well, I'm going.
I was going to say, the Punisher stuff was very, as you say, succinct, and I agree. I loved it. It was very... it could have been its own fucking mini season, frankly. Like, they could have done that season.
Punisher has to get his own show.
And then teased the Elektra stuff for a season, like, not a year from now, but like 6 to 8 months from now. Like, just done the second half of the season, like, a little ways away. I mean, by the way, doesn't that fucking help Netflix if it's, like, more broken out than if you have, like, Game of Thrones style? Like, I just reactivated my HBO Go this past Sunday. I'm gonna fucking, like, terminate it once Game of Thrones ends. Like, doesn't the same logic hold true for fucking, like, thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not... No, not hundreds. Sorry. If not tens of thousands of people for Netflix that are fans of Daredevil.
Well, they're going to... I mean, the pitch for this is that you're watching the other shows, too. So it's not just Daredevil.
Right, exactly. And I'm going to milk as much as I can out of my HBO Go subscription, and then I'm going to fucking, like, be out. But my point is...
I would have to assume... Let me just say, I would have to assume for Netflix...
I'm giving them my money because of Marvel at this point.
Their attrition rate can't be more than 1%. People aren't dropping Netflix every other month and adding it back on for one show and dropping. And I feel like the vast majority, that 99% of people have Netflix, and that's just it. They don't.
I agree. And if I'm being fully
HBO Go is probably a little more come and go.
That is probably true. And I've also, in the same breath that I'm saying about my HBO dropping, I've never dropped Netflix because it's so fucking. What is the word? Palatable. Like, it's so much.
Yes, for the cost of just like 3 months of your HBO subscription, you've paid for your
3 months. Fucking, I go to Starbucks literally every day. Don't tell my wife. It is fucking like a boon, or not a boon, a fucking stain on my income. Anyway, so I think that they could have done that, and then like 6 months later, I'm not going to say it was bad because
well, that's kind of how they done the trailer. The 2-part trailer. The first trailer was Punisher-ish, and the second one was Elektra-ish.
Because. Like, the whole Black Sky, like, what is the Black Sky? It's this great mystery. And then, like, during one episode, they're just like, oh, no. Don't, actually, the Black Sky is you. That's weird.
See, I feel like we're on the same page here. It's just, you're like, I love it. And I'm like,
yeah, so it's a reverse of fucking BVS.
Yeah,
we're all fucking agreeing.
Exactly.
You love it. I fucking hated it. Now I'm loving it and you're hating it.
I did not
because it's Marvel and you're fucking DC.
I did not hate this.
It is. You are a fucking troll. But
no,
anyway,
like I said,
they were just like, oh, no, yeah. Did we miscommunicate our fucking eHarmony post? Like, you're actually Black Sky, Elektra.
Yeah.
And then she spends like 4 minutes saying like, oh, maybe I am. Oh, the Black Sky. Am I the Black Sky, Governor?
I love that attempt. You just get me ready for my trip to England.
Well,
yeah.
you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyway, and then Stick is just like, she's the Black Sky, but I can't tell you about it because you're not ready. But here, let me tell you about it. It's episode ends. What the fuck?
Punisher was really good though.
Punisher was great. It was like 2 seasons. It was fucking great. In the capacity that probably could have been like 2 different half seasons or maybe 2 different 3/4 seasons. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I fucking loved having a Daredevil season 2 with so much fucking like nerddom, like Punisher and Elektra and the fucking Hand in one TV season. Like you don't get that in like.
My issue
1 or 2 or 3 years ago, this isn't even a possibility in our fucking geekiest minds. Fair?
No, totally. My biggest issue, I think, with the Daredevil Elektra stuff, in talking about your shipperness of Daredevil and Elektra, she is a horrible person, and Matt Murdock.
Well, actually, I want to add.
Daredevil?
I don't buy.
I want to add this point. On all the Daredevil books I read, I was very much a Matt and Elektra shipper.
Yeah.
But always had the intuition that she was bad for him.
Yeah.
I never knew why.
Yeah. Yes.
But in the books, you always knew that she was bad for him. I felt like this show showed it better than it has in the books.
Dude, but
like she totally takes him out of his tracks. He's supposed to be, representing Frank Castle. He's out there like following her around, jumping off rooftops. I thought that was done really well. For once, I could see why she's a bad influence to him.
Dude, it was fucking incredible the way that they made like Daredevil / Matt Murdock from season 1 from this goody like, oh, I love Karen Page. She's so good. She was so good in True Blood before the TV show became bad. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, this femme fatale shows up, and like,
well, the back
all of
and
a sudden,
forth.
I want to turn bad. And
well, I liked it. It was not only once; it was twice in the past and in the current time.
Exactly.
But I just don't buy. I don't buy his relationship with her. That I think
in the
that's
past or the future, or both.
A little bit. I mean, I get it in the past to a degree, but in the future, in the current, I don't. In the current, I don't.
You don't get how he gets sucked into the darkness?
Yeah, like how she like twiggle him around her fingers, like
twiddling is what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
So,
well, no, like the whole thing with the CEOs when she shows up and he like, I have to save her, and she goes, no, I fucking got it all in control. I just wanted you to be there and see me.
Exactly.
It's like what any bitch would do.
It's so good.
No offense to girls.
Like,
sorry.
He should just be like, lose my number, I'm out, and like.
But he tries to, but he can't
get
away.
Sucked back in.
What you're not understanding, because you're not a fucking like dark, and I'm not a dark guy either. I'm fucking as dark as you are, which is to say not at all. But like. He's like compelled because of his it's a fucking amazing metaphor. He's got this darkness within him, which is obviously a very fucking obvious metaphor that is like, how do I get along with this dark side of life, which she represents?
See, my problem always comes when smart people do really dumb things.
No.
Oh, but they do stupid things all the time. No. That's real life.
And I know that you're thinking of Breaking Bad because you use that fucking even more ad nauseum than fucking like anything else. Is that the smart guy made the dumb decision? But like
this is more realistic than Breaking Bad because it's a chick that makes him do it.
Like that is just like. As much as I fucking hate to agree with you at any point in time in my life, I agree with you with some points where you're just like, Walter White, what the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? But this one, I'm like, dude, this guy's had a fucking dark life. Like, I can't fault him for making this decision, which is very different in this show versus any Breaking Bad season, which is, I know, the parallel that you're going to try to draw.
I wasn't, but if a guy's having a super dark life, wouldn't you go to Karen Page, not Elektra?
No, because he has been going to Karen Page, but then all of a sudden this whisper, this reminiscence of his old life is coming in and being like, this is fucking like, this could be awesome. What do you think?
What's more fun? Karen Page, like Bookie Karen Page, or someone that jumps around rooftops with you and beats up bad guys?
She speaks to a whole different part of his life that he's more in tune with.
Yeah.
He cannot spend his life with Karen Page as it is at the beginning of season 2.
But see, like,
he can spend his whole life with Elektra at the beginning of season 2
the comics,
because she gets him as a lawyer and as Daredevil, which Karen Page doesn't.
But see, in the comics, I never took that Elektra's relationship with Daredevil or that Elektra's relationship with Matt Murdock was, I'm going to be like this, like, bad girl socialite, and I'm going to go around like robbing people like Catwoman or something like that, and beating up some random people. Where in the show,
no, but that was all calculated though. That was to push his buttons.
Charlie,
that was not done for the hell of it.
Charlie's talking now.
No.
Wait, you just went away from
okay.
You got out of it.
Charlie, stop.
Elektra from the comics is not, in a lot of ways, the Elektra from the show, especially if you factor in the history. Because the history of Elektra is not being manipulated by Stick and
that's true.
Recruited by the war. And given the context they put it in, given the fact that in the past she was specifically intended to engage Matt to try and recruit him and fell in love with him, and then basically broke it off, basically leaves that kind of unresolved, making it very easy for Matt to get dragged back into it as she interjects back into his life.
We all agree.
The
except for Ryan.
Problem with the Elektra stuff is just you are fully engaged at that point when they introduce her in the Punisher story that's still active and ongoing. So just like a lot of shows, when they break up the cast, when you have various things going on, if you are more attached to one story arc, when you sort of break to go to another story arc, you kind of sit there going, I can't wait till they get back to the Punisher stuff.
And that was me.
And
I haven't finished it, but I'm in that vein too.
And that
Brock agrees with
unfortunately doesn't do a good service to the Elektra storyline, because I do feel like the Elektra storyline just was not as engaging as the Punisher storyline, but it could have been if it was handled in a way, as you said, if they'd broken it up. So you had half a season with the Punisher stuff, then half a season with the Elektra stuff.
Yeah, but then
I think it would have been a bit more engaging that way. That being said, I didn't like the changes they did with Stick having sent her in the past. I have no problem with Stick having recruited her.
Yeah, that is weird.
I do attribute to a certain amount of Elektra getting beat up to the fact that I think all her instincts, and even instincts from the comic, is to go for the kill shot. And while doing all this with Matt, the one rule he's basically told her is you can't go for the kill shot. You can't go with your instincts. Because Elektra should literally have just been dropping bodies.
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, I'm getting fucking, like, I would say literally, but it's not literally, emotional right now, thinking about Elektra spends the whole time being an actual badass, and then Murdoch trying to, like, tug of war her back to, like, we don't kill people, to the same episode where she's fucking killing people, like, after she agrees that, like, okay, you're right, I won't do that again, I won't kill any people, you're right, and then she kills somebody, and, like, they're both right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not supposed to kill people. This is the whole Batman, Daredevil, fucking all sorts of superheroes mentality. Like, we're not executioner, judge, jury. And she's like, okay, Matt believes I'm good. I'm going to fucking stick with Matt, you blind old bastard. And then she kills somebody, like, what? Because Matt would have died. Like, how fucking awesome is that? Like, Matt literally would have died that episode, except that she kills the fucking little boy ninja. Dude, it's so good. That whole storyline is so good. Like, the tug of war between good and evil, you don't get that with Punisher. Like, you get a very good, very different dichotomy, which is a very different story of, like, well, what is a vigilante and what is okay and what is not.
Yeah.
Versus, like, the Elektra stuff, which is, you know, a whole different story about, you know, whether or not, because Punisher was never, ever going to pull Daredevil into his line of his world. He was never going to pull him into his line.
Even though it was a good precursor with the gun and everything, though.
Yes.
Like,
that was fucking so good. So good.
It sets up that line.
That was straight out of comics.
Yeah.
Stuff with the gun?
It was probably straight out of comics.
No,
it is.
Literally line for line out of comic.
It's a scene from
I
a
said
comic.
Compton. That was
Sorry.
Any event, I completely agree with Toby in terms of the Daredevil-Elektra relationship in the comic books always kind of came to me like, okay, I'm a hero, you're an assassin. We can't really find a middle ground, because every time she's tried to be a hero, that doesn't quite work, because again, all her instincts are around much closer to sort of like the Punisher, in terms of when she goes after somebody, she's gonna kill them and drop a body and all that.
Right.
And I especially like when you get into there was that sort of crossroads in the past with her where she could have gone down the path of being more like Matt, and she chose the other path.
Which crossroads?
In the comic books. In the comic books, there was sort of the whole point of, like, if she went down this path with her family, it was sort of embracing the darkness at that point, whereas if she had gone with Matt, it would have been embracing the light.
Right.
So by the time she re-enters his life, he's continued down the light path, she's continued down the dark path, and that's they can't really find that middle ground.
Yeah.
Right.
And for that reason, like, you could always understand why Matt would be kind of drawn to her because of the past love and all that.
Okay.
But you also always realize that she's not going to change the path she's on, and he's not going to change the path. This relationship was more along the lines of, as long as they're together, that path does get to more and more to gray for both of them.
Yeah.
And that was detrimental to both of them.
And I loved it how Matt kept telling her.
Just incredibly wise, like everything that comes out of Charlie's mouth.
I loved it. I loved it when Matt kept telling her, "No, I got to do this. I got to show up at court." She goes, "No, let's go do this," with her little sexy voice. And Matt goes, "I guess I will go do that and not show up at court."
Exactly.
You know.
That's what I'm saying is that fucking Charlie makes too much sense. Fuck you, but
the other thing I wish we finally got to see on this second season is Matt's glory day in court, which I'm still hoping to see in season 3.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I have to totally change the subject. I'm sorry, because I totally agree with what you just said, but I thought I was so bummed at... so sorry, this is Jessica Jones, this isn't Daredevil. I already said it too. The Luke Cage, when he gets the unbreakable skin and they need to do surgery on him, that was like the best Mighty Avengers storyline for Luke Cage ever, and they already burned it in Jessica Jones. Not Daredevil related, and I totally interrupted you.
Okay.
Please continue.
Lost my train of...
We are well over time anyway,
no.
We've got to wrap up.
No.
We have so much more Daredevil we could talk about in the future.
Dude, Daredevil Season 2 is fucking so good, though, is what Ryan Higgins is trying to say.
Yeah.
No, I think he's trying to think Patreon.
Look, what everybody should agree upon is that Charlie is always right, and Charlie likes everything, and Charlie likes Daredevil Season 2, and that you should go watch Daredevil Season 2 because it was really, really good.
And no spoiler, the end was fantastic, I thought.
Oh, the end was so good.
Yeah, I thought the end was really, really cool.
And, like, you would think that it would be an easy trope for them to be like, oh, Daredevil, he only gets by with his radar sense. Let's just get rid of his radar sense. That would be, like, an easy plot line for them to just throw into a season. But they don't, like, just casually throw it in to make it a cheap little mini arc.
Yeah.
They make it, like, a real thing. Not that it's too important or too little important. It's just, a significant piece.
Do you know who I think actually loved Daredevil Season 1?
Probably the all-new Wolverine. Haha, just
Our
kidding.
good friend Albert Soy. Our good friend Albert Soy.
Favorite scenes.
Our good friend Albert Soy.
Dude,
Punisher in jail.
Dude, oh, that was so good. Oh,
my
and the
favorite scene,
dude,
absolutely.
And his app Plant Everywhere on iTunes. We must thank of course, we have to thank all our great friends from Patreon. Thank you very much. All our top tier backers. Albert Soy, Plant Everywhere on iTunes. But we'll have so much more Daredevil talk in the future. Don't worry.
Bullshit.
Jody Lawson, he's got Canon the Triads Comics Anthology at TriadComicStudios.com. John Nesmith at DrinkingWithBatman.Libsyn.com. Pierre Blanco with a Nerded Up on YouTube at YouTube.com/NerdedUp.TV. Julian Titus got that Nerds Without Pants podcast at pixelbit.com. Make sure you go there and listen to that. Joshua Redding has Tangent Break. It's a podcast on iTunes. Check that out. And maybe the
No pants?
you did. Twilight of Ages and Dawn of Darkness. Your mic's not even on, Toby, so don't even stop. Don't even try. Mario Miranda has the Mild Fuzz podcast network, mildfuzz.org, and on YouTube under Mild Fuzz. And we have some other great backers that have nothing to pimp. They just wanted to back us. Manoa Place, Sam Shea, Robert Danum, and Scott Dryman. Thank all of you for your wonderful support of this podcast. And if you would like to support this podcast, although after this episode, I don't know why you would, patreon.com/comicconspiracy. I'm just joking. We all love Bryce. As long as it's not more than like once a month or something like that, then it's totally fine. All the previous episodes can be found at geekbox.net or comicconspiracypodcast.com or on iTunes. Forums at geekbox.net and the Geekbox and Comic Conspiracy Facebook group. I know I could talk. That's where you can talk to us and all our other listeners. Digital.comicsconspiracy.biz. That is where you can find all our lovely digital comics. Go on there, read there, subscribe. ConspiratorBrock.com. That's Brock's blog. Wanders in the Fourth Dimension. That is Charlie's podcast about Doctor Who. They just made a lady named Bill the new companion. I'm sure he's going to talk about that. Etsy.com/shop/Leanne Hill Art. That is my wonderful wife's art. Etsy shop. Go buy her some stuff on there. Or wait, go buy stuff from her on there. That's the correct way those words flow together. On Twitter, I'm Ryan Higgins Ryan. Brock's Brock Sager. Larsen. Bryce is Bryce Larsen. Toby is Toby XI. Charlie's Insanity and Chaos. The store is Comics Con Store. Make sure you add all of us, please. Geekbox Comedy Button. Good Job Brain. All Talk Podcast. Maka Nations. Those are some things that other people record and that are on the same network. You should go listen to those. Thank you, Bryce and Toby and Charlie and Brock. Thank all of you for being on this podcast. But we've gone much longer than anticipated, and we have to record another episode right now, so let's do that. Well, I'll see you guys next week.